Good evening, everyone. I am calling this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis,
Here.
Commissioner Benoni,
Present.
Commissioner Peterson, Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Lacey Oha is absent, Vice Chair Williams,
Present.
and Chair Taylor is absent. We have a quorum at 6:30. Thank you.
May we stand for the pledge? Commissioner Kennedy, would you like to do this the honor in leading us? Okay. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to consent calendar. I'm going to motion to approve all three of these items, 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, and 3-4. So they may be approved. As I understand, they are still being calculated for those meetings. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to motion, may I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis,
Yes.
Commissioner Benoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson is absent, Commissioner Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Lacey Oha is absent, Vice Chair Williams,
Aye.
and Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to approve the consent calendar with the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I see Commissioner Addison is approaching, so I'll go ahead and wait.
Commissioner Addison arrived at 6:32. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to our next item, which are the presentations from our city attorney on Assembly Bill 847 and other citizen oversight models. I'll give you the floor.
Good evening, Commission. This is, as you're all aware, at the joint city council meeting that happened a few months ago, the city council tasked city staff with forming a team to look into AB 847 and try and explore what that could look like and how the city should proceed. To that end, what I wanted to do today was we have here the law clerk from my office. She's been with my office since the beginning of June. Elba Gonzalez. She's going to present to the commission what the other general law cities are doing when it comes to police oversight in California. This is supposed to be informational, just so then you can see what other things are out there, and that may give us a starting point to the next part of our conversation, which will be kind of for the council to discuss amongst themselves what they would like to see from any ordinance amendment that would be there. And just, I want to make sure that I'm setting expectations properly with this. This would be kind of the starting point, because this is going to be a long process. We're going to have to go back and forth with the applicable unions, discuss these things. There's going to be negotiations and discussions. Additionally, this is going to go in, if this is something that the sides can come to an agreement, there will be an ordinance that's presented to council. Then we have to go through that process. So this is not going to be necessarily this isn't going to happen next week. It's not going to happen this next month. Probably won't even happen before the end of the year, because there is a lot of stuff that goes into it. However, if we are able to kind of understand what the commission's looking for, that gives us a good starting point. We can go discuss. We can bring information back to the commission as necessary, and then things may expand from that point. I don't know exactly how things are going to look going forward. It kind of depends on how tonight's discussion goes, but that's kind of the framing that I have for it. So additionally, so as I said, Ms. Gonzalez is going to present these different things. I would just ask that, since she is currently a law student, that you direct the questions to me, And I will, if necessary, I can direct the ones to her. Otherwise, I'll be answering them just because, she isn't really, she's not a lawyer yet. She's very close. She'll tell you a little bit about herself when she starts. And see if there's anything else. Oh, yes. This would also be a time to, if there are questions that the commission has, maybe some more in-depth questions about ABA 47, I'm happy to field those as well. I'm sure some of those will come up. I just want to make sure that's part of this discussion because that's what's going to kind of go into the framing that we're going to use going forward. So I think we're ready to begin.
Yes, please, come on up. Good evening. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, commissioners, staff, and members of the public. My name is Elba Gonzalez. I'm a rising third-year law student at Columbia Law School, and I currently serve as a law clerk here with the Antioch City Attorney's Office. Tonight, I will provide an overview of the 5 other California general law cities that have established commissions or boards with responsibilities related to police oversight, accountability, complaint review, policy review, or police community relations. Including Antioch, 5 other general law cities have police oversight committees. These cities include Davis, Claremont, La Mesa, National City, and Novato. For each city, I will briefly discuss the structure of its commission, its scope of authority, and its key practices. Together, these examples provide a useful comparison of the different approaches general law cities have taken to police oversight and community accountability. The purpose of this presentation is purely informational. I'm not recommending that Antioch adopt any particular model. Instead, I'm here to describe the structures these cities have established, the responsibilities assigned to their commissions or boards, and the several differences among them. I will also provide a brief rudimentary overview of Assembly Bill 847, a recently enacted state law concerning access by civilian oversight bodies to confidential police officer personnel records. One point to keep in mind is that the title of a commission does not necessarily indicate the extent of its authority. Cities may use similar terms such as accountability, oversight, review, or police relations, while assigning substantially different responsibilities to their civilian bodies. The details depend on each city's specific laws, procedures, and practices. The first city I will discuss is the city of Davis. Davis has a police accountability commission. They meet every month and they have 7 members and 1 alternate member. According to the city, the commission provides community-based accountability for law enforcement. Its duties include reviewing and making recommendations regarding police department policies, procedures, and training. It also conducts community outreach and engagement related to police accountability. The Davis Commission works with an independent police auditor. The commission receives reports from the auditor concerning completed citizen complaint investigations, works with the auditor on specialized audits of police department policies, and annually evaluates the audit's work with the commission. Under the structure described in the city's public materials and my conversation with the public information officer at the City of Davis, the commission and the independent police auditor have related but distinct roles. The commission conducts policy review, community engagement, and public discussion. The auditor performs professional review and audit functions and reports to the commission concerning completed complaint investigations. The materials I reviewed do not state that the commissioners personally conduct internal affairs investigations or make final disciplinary decisions. They also do not clearly state whether individual commissioners directly review complete unredacted personnel files or whether the underlying confidential records are reviewed primarily by the independent police auditor. The second city I researched was the city of Claremont. They have a police commission, they meet every other month, and they have 6 members. Claremont's police commission serves as a public forum for discussion concerning the police department. Its responsibilities include reviewing police department policies, procedures, training, recruitment, community-oriented policing, and operational information. The commission may make recommendations to the city council, city manager, and police chief. It may also provide a forum for concerns and complaints involving the police department. Its governing provisions allow it to receive information concerning the progress or conclusions of complaint investigations when the disclosure of that information is legally permitted. The Claremont model, as described in the city's governing provisions and based on my call with the city clerk, centers on public dialogue, policy review, examination of police information, data, and recommendations to city officials. The Commission's duties I reviewed do not describe the Commission as an independent internal affairs investigative agency. They also do not clearly state that commissioners directly review complete unredacted police personnel files. The next city I researched was the city of La Mesa. They have a Community Police Oversight Board, commonly referred to as CPOB. The board meets every month and consists of 11 members. The board advises the police chief, mayor, city council, and city manager concerning the administration of the police department and matters of public safety. La Mesa's board works with an independent police auditor. The board may review complaints regarding police department personnel and refer those complaints to the police chief for investigation. It also has responsibilities connected to independent audits of internal affairs investigations. Serious certain incidents, including officer-involved shootings, deaths, serious bodily injuries, and specified weapons discharges, are subject to independent audit review. The board may also initiate audits of other internal affairs investigations through the independent police auditor. In conducting an audit, the auditor may examine whether an investigation was complete, objective, and consistent with applicable policies and procedures. The board may then consider the auditor's findings and make recommendations. Neither the La Mesa commissioners or the police auditor have subpoena power. However, La Mesa's municipal structure also addresses circumstances in which the board or auditor believes necessary access to records or witnesses have been denied. The matter may be presented to the city council for consideration of whether the council should exercise subpoena authority. The board also reviews police department policies and practices in areas including use of force, de-escalation, training, hiring, promotions, complaint investigations, implicit bias, and community-oriented policing. La Mesa's governing materials expressly provide the independent police auditor with access to police department files and information needed to perform the auditor's duties. However, the materials I reviewed do not clearly state whether members of the civilian board personally receive or review complete unredacted personnel files. The structure more clearly describes record access by the independent police auditor, followed by reporting and review involving the board. The next city I researched was National City. They have a Community and Police Relations Commission that meets 4 times a year and has 7 members. National City describes the commission as an independent, unbiased, and impartial body that is available to the public. The commission is authorized to receive and review complaints concerning National City Police Department personnel. Under the city's published description and based on my call with the city clerk, the police department first conducts its investigation. The commission's review takes place after that investigation has been completed. The commission may review the completed matter and make recommendations concerning police department policies and procedures. National City's municipal code states that the commission provides a forum for community concerns about police conduct, practices, and policies, and examines police practices and procedures. Under this model, the police department performs the initial investigation, and the commission has subsequent review and recommendation role. Through the materials I reviewed and based on my call with the city clerk's office, they do not clearly identify the complete set of documents provided to the commissioners during that review. They also do not clearly state whether commissioners received complete unredacted personnel files or whether they may direct the police department to conduct an additional investigation. The last city I looked at was the city of Novato. They have a police advisory and review board. They generally meet 4 times a year with additional meetings scheduled as needed, and they have 7 members. The board provides for community participation in police department policies, procedures, and practices. It also reviews citizen complaints referred to by the city manager. Novato's complaint process begins with an investigation by the police department. The police chief reviews the completed investigation and makes the final departmental decision. A complainant who is dissatisfied with the result may appeal to the city manager. The city manager may then refer the matter to the police advisory and review board for further review or investigation. The board's involvement in individual complaints is therefore based on referral. The published process does not indicate that every complaint is automatically reviewed by the board. The materials I reviewed do not clearly state that board members directly review complete unredacted personnel files. Novato's use of a resolution rather than an ordinance may also be relevant to how AB 847 applies because the language of the new state law refers to certain civilian oversight boards or commissions established by duly enacted municipal or county ordinance. When the 5 cities are considered together, several structural differences can be observed. First, the cities differ in how their civilian bodies become involved in individual complaints. In Davis, the commission receives reports from an independent police auditor concerning completed citizen complaint investigations. In Claremont, the commission provides a forum for concerns and may receive information concerning investigations when disclosure is legally permitted. In La Mesa, the board may receive complaints, refer them for investigation, and work with an independent police auditor in reviewing audits of internal affairs investigations. In National City, the commission reviews complaints after the police department completes its investigation. In Novato, the board reviews complaints referred to by the city manager, generally after the departmental complaint and appeal process. Second, Davis and La Mesa expressly use an independent police auditor as part of their oversight structures, while the structures of Claremont, National City, and Novato do not identify the same type of independent auditor arrangement. Third, the cities differ in how cases reach the commission. Some matters are reviewed because they fall within a designated category, such as certain serious incidences in La Mesa, while some are reviewed after the police department completes its investigation, as in National City. Some reach the civilian body following an appeal and referral, as in Novato. In Davis, the commission receives reports prepared by an independent police auditor. An additional part of this research concerns Assembly Bill 847. AB 847 was signed into law in October 2025. It amended California Penal Code Section 832.7 to expand access to confidential peace officer and custodial officer personnel records for qualifying civilian law enforcement oversight boards or commissions during investigations or related proceedings concerning officer conduct. The law requires an oversight board or commission reviewing those records to maintain their confidentiality. It also authorizes qualifying bodies to use closed session as legally permitted to review confidential records. AB 847 does not make confidential personnel files available to the general public. Instead, it addresses access by oversight bodies for the performance of their official duties. The statute does not also necessarily mean that the police commissioners automatically receive every personnel file. The scope of access may depend on whether the body qualifies under the statute, whether it was established by ordinance, whether the requested records are required for an investigation or proceeding, and what authority has been assigned to the commission under local law. As of the date of this presentation, I did not identify an ordinance amendment in any of the 5 cities that expressly reference AB 847 or adds language specifically implementing the access authorized by AB 847. AB 847 is also relatively recent, so implementation procedures may still be under development. However, based on the materials I reviewed in my calls with the cities of Davis, Claremont, and National City, they did not seem to be putting that into process right now. For Davis and La Mesa, the materials more clearly establish access and review responsibilities for an independent auditor rather than by direct access by commissioners. For Claremont and National City, the governing materials provide for commission involvement in complaints or investigative information, but I did not find current language expressly providing commissioners with access under AB 847. In my conversations with these cities, they did not indicate that AB 847 had prompted any changes to their governing materials or they had any plans to amend them. For Novato, the board was established by resolution rather than by ordinance, according to the city's public webpage. Based on the research I conducted, Davis, Claremont, La Mesa, National City, and Novato also have civilian bodies involved in police policy, complaint review, accountability, public participation, or police community relations, though their structures and authority differ. Some work alongside an independent police auditor, while others primarily review policies, complaints, or community concerns and issue recommendations. None of the commissions have direct subpoena power. AB 847 allows for qualifying civilian oversight bodies to access confidential peace officer personnel records for authorized investigations or proceedings subject to confidentiality requirements. As of this research, however, I found no ordinance in these 5 cities expressly implementing AB 847 and no public confirmation that commissioners routinely review complete unredacted personnel files under the law. These findings may change as cities update their ordinances, policies, and procedures. That concludes what I've researched at this time. If the commission wants to take public comment or if you have any questions, please address them to the city attorney. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Excuse me. We'll move on to public comment.
Thank you, Chair. We do have 4 speakers: Leslie May, Crystal Law, Catherine Wade, and Gavin Payton. Thank you.
All right. Ms. May, would you like the microphone, or did you want to come up?
Thank you.
Mhm. Sure. You're welcome.
Okay. I can get up. Okay.
Is this one synced? You want to go to the next?
Yeah, we can go to the next
Sure.
speaker.
Perfect.
Oh, there we go. We can wait.
We got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your patience.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good evening, Commission and staff. I was trying to take notes quickly because I don't know why I don't know if my slides just didn't print out. But I wanted to look at the statistics, number one, of all of these cities about the population. And the population of these cities range from 37,266 to 66,850. So they're much smaller than Antioch. Okay. Also, when I was quickly writing notes, I noticed that La Mesa and I would say Novato would have the best models if you're going to discuss what you want to put together as a commission, your authority, because you're supposed to have authority. I would suggest you look at La Mesa and Novato's presentations, if I guess you guys got the full printout of her slideshow, because I think they are really more comprehensive with this. Uh-oh. Sorry. Okay. So, yes, I do agree that this commission itself needs to have substantial changes and more power, because it seems like you have people working against you to water down the little powers you do have. And being that you are the ones that help rewrite the policies and procedures for the Antioch Police Department, you should have more power to request complaints, to actually review complaints, even if we have an independent auditor. I like that idea. And to form more of a citizens board too, a mini board that they can talk, do Zoom meetings with different people, whatever, and submit to you the city itself's concerns that about police behaviors, and personnel and all that sort of thing. And I also feel like you need to be able to have access to the records to see if there's been prior behaviors anywhere else prior to coming to Antioch. And if they weren't an officer prior to coming to Antioch, has there been any type of discipline by the judicial system, some type, because just because you have discipline doesn't mean you can't be a police officer. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Crystal Law.
So, under AB 847, a city council or police department cannot put restrictions on a properly established police commission's access to police records or prevent from reviewing them. The bill is specifically designed to grant these oversight bodies independent access to confidential personnel records for the purpose of conducting thorough investigations. AB 847 was signed in January 2026. So of course, there's gonna be drawback, right, from the police department not wanting this specific oversight. However, I'm not understanding why we are even looking into other cities when the law has specifically stated that you can't put a restriction on the oversight committee from getting access to these things. It's not like we can't trust the commission board. The reason for the commission board being put into place is to be an oversight. That means that if we have a complaint about a specific officer, like the one who punched somebody in the face, there should be able to be somebody, or even you guys, to be able to go back and look, well, hey, not even just this issue has happened or presented itself, but he also has 10 other problems that have arisen and that was overlooked. So those are the types of things that you guys as a commission should be able to have access to. It's very unfortunate that this has to be a battle between the police department and the commission board, because I honestly love our police department right now. I don't dislike all of the officers, okay? There's a few of them on there that try to assert their authority in ways that shouldn't be, but ultimately, I really truly believe that Chief Vigil has, and some of the lieutenants have taken it in a better direction. But the point in the commission board is so that we can have access to this stuff, so that if somebody like myself or somebody that is in my district doesn't want to necessarily go complain to the police department about the police department, they want to have an independent person to look at it. A lot of people come to me and talk to me because they feel comfortable with me, but I don't have access to that stuff. I can just do public records just like them.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Catherine Wade.
Hello, Antioch Police Oversight Commission. It just really hurts me because I was impacted and my son was impacted from the police's corruption, cover-up, and misconducts. And for years, going down there, putting in complaints, even going to the city managers, putting in complaints, and I've started that again since March. Complaints, nothing has been investigated, nothing has been resolved except for giving me letters stating that they don't have the information and or I cannot get the information. Me as a citizen, yes, I can utilize SB 1421, but they're still not adhering to those state laws. So now we move into AB 847, which gives the body of the police oversight commissions the authority to review police confidential personnel files and issues and complaints. And this city, to me, is still doing the same things. You're protecting your officers. This city is protecting the corruption that was going on, that was found, and is still protecting the corruption that's still going on, because you still have these same officers working for this city. So let's get back to AB 847. That's a state law. But of course, they broke state, federal, local laws doing what they were doing. So they're used to this. So they're going to fight as much as they can, like they did fight against SB 1421. But Frank and I were in Martinez when they passed it. And they're still denying public records requests in this city. I've taken a letter to Ana Cortez Friday asking for a meeting. I've taken one up there a few months ago. I've been taking complaints, asking for the chief, internal affairs, for investigations. You can't get that. So this body right here, I depend on you to be able to stand up with the state law, as they said, in confidential information about these polices in closed sessions where you have to keep all of this under wraps to get this job done for us citizens who've been hurt in this community. Hurt. This is something they cannot bull their way of getting out of. You know what I'm saying? Fight for the citizens in this community to get this work done. Legislative didn't pass this law just to sit there, just like the other laws we have in this city that they've been neglecting and going against. Let's get this done. We got to go to Sacramento. Let's get some people up to Sacramento so these people can understand what's going on in layman terms, like they were texting in layman terms.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Gavin Payton.
Thank you.
So I want to point out a few things that I noticed about the presentation. I want to say it was a really good presentation. However, I'm kind of a little bit confused, and this is where I'm a little bit confused at. So back before the commission, during the text message scandal, the youth council was asking the city of Antioch to partner with us and the police department to do police forums. We asked and asked and asked. We are still asking. So let me maybe rephrase the question. Can the Police Oversight Commission partner with the East County NAACP Youth Council to have a police forum so that the youth know what it is that they need to be asking or need to know what they need to know about these police officers when they're interacting with the police officers? That is our main concern that we keep asking. The other thing, I also want to mention that the NAACP just passed at the National Convention, they just passed the ordinance about police officers having accountability instead of it being the city paying for the police officer mistake. It's actually the police officer themselves to pay for their mistake. So in case they did something wrong, that they have to pay that city tax instead of the people paying for the city tax, which is allowing the police officers doing the behavior that they're doing. So with this information and with the current bill information, that's why I'm gonna keep asking the same question. Can we partner on this or not? If not, then the youth are going to continuously feel the way that they're feeling, and they're not going to be willing to want to listen to authority. They're not going to be wanting to listen to the police officers. The police officers are not going to be able to want to listen to the youth because the youth have questions and concerns that they want to get across. And I don't really want to hear about, oh, this person, that person. No. We're getting active complaints, active youth that are happening to them. We have still youth that are still victims of the police department here in Antioch. That is concerning. If that doesn't concern you, that we have our own members, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have two more speakers. Nicole Gardner and Frank Sterling. Thank you.
Good evening. So I wasn't even going to speak on this, but I am confused. I am so confused. I did not realize that this was on the agenda. I just had to do like a little chat GPT search, like to figure out what was going on. So I'm just confused. If this is state law, then what are we doing? I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, I don't think any of you would be against having more ability to oversee what may be in an officer's file as far as a personnel file. I'm a little bit confused because even with this incident that just happened with this unhoused woman, we later learned that this officer was also involved in the Angelo Quinto incident. He was a first responder. And then I forgot the news article that came out that said that he had other incidents. So you all need to be aware of that and oversee that. I don't think any of you, I haven't been following your meetings, but any of you would have a problem with that. And I just, like, maybe we going to the wrong people, y'all. I mean, maybe we need to be going to the council, because we sitting here talking to them when I believe that they would be for having that oversight and having that ability. So I think that we, as a community, we may need to be talking to our council, or are these questions for the chief, or I don't know who is preventing you all from doing that. But it looks like it's state law, and you all need to be fighting just as hard as we are to make sure that you do have that ability to make sure that you're able to look at those personnel files, even if it's in closed session. I don't know how that works, but you definitely need to. We don't need these rogue officers on our streets. We need to be able, or at least you need to be able, to make sure that when these incidents happen, like you guys may be able to prevent it just by bringing these things up. With this officer right there, you know, he needs a mental evaluation, just like the last community engagement officer, Linderman, that I had been talking about for years. Thank God he's gone after the text message scandal, but thank God he's gone. But, you know, you guys got to fight. Y'all got to fight just as much as we are coming up here. So when we show up, I would appreciate if y'all show up too. And I don't know where Ojai is or our chair is, but I would hope that you guys could explain that later on in the meeting, what's going on with them. This is an important meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have Frank Sterling and then Dr. Kimberly Payton.
Hey guys, I just want to urge you all to do your best to implement AB 847 to the best of your ability and to the legal limits. I went to the meeting y'all had at the water park, and it seemed like the chief had some folks up there that were kind of explaining certain limitations or maybe what you shouldn't do. But I feel like this is very important information that you can get, especially as Nicole was just saying. You could look into Officer Shipolov, who just somehow squeaked through the text message scandal after making the jokes about dead N-words. You know, I'll talk more about it later because it's not the topic right here. But AB 847, maybe if you could use that subpoena power to look into some of his past stuff and into some of the other people that squeaked through this text message scandal that are still on the force. Because we're trying to bring in these new officers while Chief Vihil's trying to rebuild the department, but you still got people in here that made these jokes about N-words and dead N-words, and you still got the guy, Rick Hoffman, who was the police president. Yeah, I've repeated numerous times what happened to me with this guy when he assaulted me and my friends in my house, and I had to fight for years in court to prove I was innocent. And then a video got released that showed I was innocent. Whatever happened to these guys, we don't ever know. But with this subpoena power, maybe you all could find out if there's anything actually happening in the background. I don't know if this guy ever got, if Hoffman or Kent ever got punished for what they did to me when I got totally cleared in court. And I don't know if some of the new guys that are around, if they're working directly with these guys or still cracking jokes about N-words. We just don't know. But you guys might be able to use 847 to look a little deeper than the average person can. And so I would urge you all to take advantage of to the fullest what you can. If we're really trying to rebuild and find out what's going on inside our department, and we can't, we're limited by, as Catherine said, we fought for 1421, the right to know. We were in Martinez when they were having a big debate or whatever it was that day. And we won that, but we're still limited on our end. But if you guys get this added power, I would just hope that you all embrace it and use it to the best of your ability and look a little deeper for us, because we can't. And you could find out what's really going on. And I'll leave my time there. Thank you.
Thank you.
A democracy cannot thrive where power remains unchecked. Justice is reserved for a select few. Ignoring these cries and failing to respond to this is simply not an option. Peace cannot exist where justice is not served. John Lewis said that. You know, when they asked me to interview some of you to be on the Police Oversight Commission, I did that. I interviewed, I went through the process, and I put in what I thought was the opinions and recommendations of people that would serve the city and the residents of Antioch. And I don't understand if this is a question or exactly what's happening, but implementing AB 847, it shouldn't even be a question. Isn't that your calling? Isn't that your purpose? As we look at the purpose for the commission, one of them was oversight functions. So we're only asking you to take that role. We're asking you to do oversight. We're asking you to step up to the plate. We're asking you to hear, be present, and be correct. The citizens are depending on you. The police are depending on you. If we talk about engaging the community, engaging the police, bridging the gap, getting rid of the text message scandal and all the stigma it put on this community, it starts with you. That was the purpose, and we need you to deliver. We need you not to be bullied by council members that change dates of meetings and all this here. That's been all the shenanigans going on. Yes. That's not their purview. That's your purview. And yes, I'm saying it for the record, the shenanigans of the city council meeting causing problems here in the Oversight Commission. Yes. They need to stop it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more public comments?
No further comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, everyone. We'll go to council commissioners' discussion. Is there anyone who would like to speak first? I'll give you guys some time to ask questions to our city attorney. Or, I'm sorry, I forget your name. Elba. Okay.
I just wanted to make just kind of one clarification. I know that Ms. May brought up the different city sizes. And with this presentation, Ms. Gonzalez told me about what other general law cities are doing. We are, frankly, we're kind of large for being a general law city, which is why a lot of the other ones are smaller than we are. And just by the same point, there's many cities smaller than us that are charter cities. So that shows that discrepancy there. And just to kind of broaden the scope on things, California has 400-something cities, and I believe there's 22 or 23 of them that have police oversight commissions. So it's a very small group, and for general law cities, I don't know how many general law cities there are in California, but I think that we're in the small minority that do have police oversight commission. Just to give a little explanation as to why some of the cities may not be directly comparable to Antioch in that respect.
Okay. Thank you, City Attorney. Well, I do have one question that I wrote down. So what is preventing us from, I mean, maybe remind me, but why using AB 847?
Because, so in order for AB 847 to come into effect, the City Council has to extend the Commission's scope of authority to cover those things. It's not currently there.
Yeah.
The Council has the ability to do so, and I think that's part of why that's why we're doing this, why they tasked us with creating this team to bring this forward. Yeah. And, you know, as part of this, depending on how things go, there's very likely going to have to be meetings with unions, things like that. And the reason why that is because if the authority doesn't exist and if there's a dispute about it, it's likely going to be challenged. And that's going to push things out even further. I think by having it here and we're dealing with the negotiations on the front end, hopefully we can get to work sooner on the back end, but it is going to take a lot. It's going to be a heavy lift. I'm being very frank. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a heavy lift from the commission because you're going to be subjecting yourself to a greater amount of work. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a heavy lift for city staff because there's going to be a lot of going back and forth. And of course, ultimately, this is all going to be at the will of the council. Mm-hmm. So another thing, it's, you know, if there were to be any agreement made beforehand, and if the two sides can go to the council kind of together, mm-hmm. that may help, as opposed to if the two sides go to the council and they want two separate things.
Right.
So that's kind of where, that's here, what I, you know, what kind of from city staff side we're endeavoring to do is first see, because we understand that the commission and that the public wants there to be additional oversight, but there hasn't really been discussion about what that may look like, how that's going to be structured, and that's all going to be part of the details are going to be a very important part of the negotiations going forward.
Thank you. Just wanted that clarification for those listening, and thank you for that explanation. Just wanted it to be reiterated. Thank you. Any other, Mr. Commissioner Solis?
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Williams. In listening to the presentation and in listening to the public comments, which I thought were all valuable, I really thought that there was a lot of good information to be had there. It's kind of starting at the top. I understand about the type of governance our community has, and I wondered when I saw that the cities that were evaluated, I wasn't critical about the ones that were particularly selected, but what I was more than just curious about was, I know, for example, that there is a police oversight function that's in the cities of Oakland and Richmond and Vallejo, and they're there because there were very similar things, some similar shenanigans that happened in those communities that happened here. And as a result of that, the oversight function was created. So I don't understand, all the intricacies about why the unions would be interested in what sort of a model we ultimately recommend to the city council. But I do think that it's very important for us to get some insight into some of these communities where the problems have been deep and possibly longer than they were here. Still just as serious, though. So I don't want to continue to just push this thing out, but I do think that, and it's unfortunate we don't have a full commission tonight either, but I do think it's valuable to get the insights of our missing members, but I also would like to know a little bit more about how some of these bigger cities in our immediate area are structured, because they're doing something that's effective. And just looking at what took place in Oakland, for example, different type of community, but nevertheless, it seems like they've gotten some of their issues reined in where, we might be having to deal with some of those same issues. Is there something that, okay. Okay, all right. All right. Hope it had nothing to do with what I was saying, but. The other thing too is that it seems that we should, I realize that this is going to be a heavy project to take on, but to be honest, I think being on this commission is more than just going to Coffee with the Cops and National Night Out and all these other things that are important. But I think this is one of the most important functions that I think we need to tangle with head on. I think this is probably the reason why this core issue is why this commission was created in the first place. It had a predecessor that was effective in some things, but very ineffective in other areas. This one has been very effective prior to me getting on here in terms of trying to get things under control and on the right track. And I'm glad about that. But so, if it takes participation and some extra meetings to come up with a policy that we can support and send it on to the city council for their adoption, then I'm all in favor of the extra work, because frankly, I think that's really why we're sitting here in the first place. It's one of the most important things I think we can contribute. So as I say, the other issues I'm not sure about. I guess we'll learn more about union involvement and whether or not, the other cities are radically different because they're governed differently. But I do think we should take a look at some of these other communities and what they're doing, because what I think they're doing is probably effective. That's it for now. Thank you.
If I may just address
Sure.
one point when it comes to the other cities. So you named Richmond, Oakland, Vallejo. Those are all charter cities. And charter cities they've had more, Without going through, because I gave a presentation actually on the difference between charter and general law cities a while back, and I'm happy I don't believe you were on the commission at that time, Commissioner Solis, but we can provide you with that recording so you can at least get the overview of it. But that was kind of one of the things that was inhibiting the ability for the commission to be able to access those things before. Now we have this new law. As for what the new law actually means, as Ms. Gonzalez said, we don't really know yet because the legislature, they wrote the law, but it's going to be the way that the law will be discovered is when it's challenged in court and the judges make their interpretations of it. And that's where the explanations come from it. And I'm not saying that we should sit back and wait to see what happens. It's just that now, frankly, we are on uncharted territory. If I pull it up, there are no cases there's no case law from this year with this. There's nothing there that gives the explanation. And as Ms. Gonzalez explained, we would be the first city to actually be implementing these things. So there wouldn't be any challenges as of this point. So that's what we're working with, and that's why, it's important to take the time to make sure we have something that's set up as strongly as possible, because that will help the commission, that'll help the police, that'll help the council, that'll be to everybody's best benefit, or at least that's what I feel.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Sure, yeah.
And not to counter what you're saying, but I do think that, I think we should, since we would be forging into some new ground, I'd say we forward until we get our hands slapped. I mean, the worst that can happen is they could say, you can't do that for these various reasons. But until I hear that, I think we should try to come up with a reasonable policy.
Thank you. Thank you, City Attorney. I agree. I think that we do need to set up a good policy to have, or ordinance to have precedents over this. And because it doesn't exist, is that what you're saying? We can't really
I think
build from nothing.
That's why I asked Ms. Gonzalez to do this research and to present it to you. So then at the very least, you can see what other cities are doing right now.
Yeah.
And you can look at that's just kind of the groundwork. Now, I can't direct the commission as to how to go forward on it. This was just I thought it would be helpful to have a starting point, to have some context for this and seeing what's there. Because, I can say that there's certain things to consider. One would be, how are these going to be reviewed? Would this be a closed session by the entire commission? Would there be an ad hoc that's doing it? What types of cases are going to be reviewed? Where's your investigation privilege going to be? What proceedings are you going to be able to open? Because the AB 847, as it says, it's specific to proceedings and investigations. So kind of all of those things are things that I would hope that we can have a discussion about tonight. I can take my notes. And then of course this is being recorded, so we'll go back and review it. And then we have something that we can start with for at least when we go to talk with the unions. And the reason why we have to do that, there's a number of different meet and confer statutes that we have to follow when you're making substantive changes to somebody's employment, and this would fall underneath that category.
And thank you again. I did have a question about, there was a mention that Claremont had public forums. Was that leading up to their commission having this granted, or was this like a public forum to design how they wanted what Mr. Klundinger is talking about?
Ms. Gonzalez, could you answer that question for us?
Yes. So the city of Claremont does provide a public forum for discussion regarding the police department, and this forum allows for concerns and complaints involving the police department. It allows them to receive information concerning the progress and conclusion of complaint investigations when the disclosure of that is information is legally permitted. So.
Okay, thank you for that. Does everybody understand? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Kennedy? Okay, Commissioner Benoni.
All right. Well, first, I want to thank Ms. Gonzalez for the detailed, dive into this. And Assistant City Attorney, I have maybe 4 or 5 quick questions. It sounded like during the presentation it was mentioned that for La Mesa, the Police Oversight Board initiates audits. Did I hear that correctly?
I believe in, and Ms. Gonzalez can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the board will request, they can request specific audits from their independent auditor, and the auditor will then go do that audit, produce a report, which would then be presented to their commission.
And is that a separate power from referring the complaints for investigation? Like the complaints and the audits are separate?
I would, Ms. Gonzalez, do you know the answer to that?
Would you mind repeating that?
Yeah, is for La Mesa,
La Mesa, yes.
yeah, is the power to refer complaints for investigation separate from the power to initiate audits? Like, are those 2 powers?
So it looks like their board is allowed to initiate audits of other internal affairs investigations through the independent police auditor. So that would have to go through the independent police auditor. And your first question was about whether or not they can initiate those audits, and what was the second part of that question?
I just want to clarify, these are 2 separate powers, like the investigate, because it says investigation, and then you're also saying like the audits. So the investigation is when it's being conducted, like, during the process, and then the audit is afterwards, correct?
Yes, so because they have an independent police auditor, they do work separately, and it seems like once that investigation is completed, then the board may review and look over that.
Thank you. Another question.
Ms. Gonzalez, would you mind staying? I don't want you to have to keep getting back up and down. Yeah, thank you, just in case.
Okay, for AB 847, like just within the legal language, is there like, because it was mentioned the scope of access, so is there like a baseline within that language for the scope of access, or is it largely determined by the city council, like what the exact scope of access is?
So there's 2 different parts of that question. I think the threshold scope of access would be that any records that were to be viewed by the oversight body would have to be related to a proceeding or to an investigation. So it could not necessarily be just a member of APOC strolling into the police department and requesting somebody's file. So it would not be that open access, like they would have to be related to something concrete. As for what the proceedings and investigations are, that would be something that would be defined by council. So there could be any number of different proceedings, different types of investigations, and the scope of those investigations, it could be all things, it could be certain incidents, it could be, there's too many different permutations for me to provide, but it's kind of, I said right now, it's kind of an open-ended thing, because there has not been any challenging as to what a proceeding is or what an investigation would be.
Okay, understood. Another question, looking at the city of, I guess, National City, it was mentioned that they have subsequent review of completed matters. They have that power. Is that considered investigatory? Because I know there's a limitation with the, I guess, with the powers that we're able to have as a general law city. Yeah.
So
because the investigation is concluded, is that second review considered investigatory, or is that just, a review?
the answer is it depends. If there's kind of an investigation into the investigations, that's one thing. And Ms. Gonzalez can correct me, or maybe I'll ask you this. Ms. Gonzalez, do you know if the police commission, if they review all police investigations, or is there only particular police investigations that they look at?
So in my conversation with the city clerk, they did not specify whether or not they look at every investigation. It seems to be just the ones that are referred to them. They mentioned that they look at them in closed session and they review whether or not they agree or disagree with the decision. And it didn't seem to say whether or not they have any sort of overruling power or anything like that, just mainly whether or not they felt the police followed protocol and for transparency reasons.
Okay. And then my last question, for the city of Novato, I guess looking at the last bullet point, it was talking about how the city manager may refer to the board for further review or investigation. So kind of, similar. So, because right now I believe we're advisory, like we can make recommendations, but if we follow one of these models, would that change the nature to investigatory?
Well, I believe that from what I understand of what the commission wants from AB 847 would be changing this from a purely advisory committee into somewhat of an investigatory committee. That's what's kind of implicated by AB 847 because of the language I spoke about, investigations and procedures. So that would, if we were to institute the provisions of that, yes, there would be some inherent investigatory purpose that's in there.
Okay, so I guess last question, last question. Is there a difference, any difference at all between review power and investigatory power, or is it pretty much the same?
Excuse me, could he repeat that? I couldn't.
Sorry, I was asking if there's a difference at all between review power and investigatory power at all, any difference?
There may be, there may not be, they can go hand in hand. It would be kind of whether, trying to think of a sensical way to put this. The review could also be part of the investigatory power. I think that's the best way to do it. There could be just reviews that are purely advisory, where let's just say a review would be done and that would be to say, to just, no, because even then that would be somewhat investigatory to see if it's complying with standards. So it would be, the two basically, I think, function kind of the same way. There could be some parsing or stuff there, but that's, I feel, getting very far into the weeds at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Benoni. Thank you. I did want to clarify. So if we say the city council passes 840 allows us to investigate, or
I found this on the web.
Not Siri. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Technology, right? So I'm wondering if we would. So how would it be if we're an advisory board and an investigatory board? Does that separate, or is it?
Well, that would be one of the things to consider. It's maybe consider having an ad hoc that would be doing the investigatory part of it,
Right.
because then you have a separation there. It would limit could limit any conflicts that would arise. It also would allow for, it would be easier to control the documents that would be reviewed, because as Ms. Gonzalez stated, nothing in AB 847 makes anything public knowledge. It just gives the commission the view of that, and the more people who have their hands on these things, the more potential there is for disclosure or other liabilities that could arise. So these are, as I said, these are all parts of considerations that I think would be very helpful to know.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, does anyone have any more questions for Ms. Gonzalez? Or you do? Okay, Commissioner. Go. Okay, Commissioner Peterson.
Hi, so I just wanted to say congratulations on getting into the law clerk's office. It's awesome. I thought I'd just congratulate you and thank you for this.
Can I just point one more thing out? She's the first law clerk that I think, as far as I know, we've ever had with the Antioch City Attorney's Office. So,
oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a big deal. Congratulations. I also want to say thank you for the presentation. It was a very good presentation. We've been really wanting this presentation. You provided a lot of really good information, so thank you. My question is that, could you provide a little bit more information about what is an independent police auditor exactly?
Yes, so the city of La Mesa and the city of Davis have an independent police auditor. So this is somebody who, more likely than not, seems to be employed by the city manager's office. They would be someone who's working full-time doing this sort of investigative work. They would be working separately from the commission. They would be the ones looking at more of like the investigative materials and things like that in terms of police personnel files. They would have more of the access to that.
So are they typically an employee? Well, I guess they're all employees of the city, but would the independent police auditor be employed by the city manager or by the police department?
I think that it would depend on this. Would depend on the circumstances, depending on the city. Probably not working underneath the police department. More likely working underneath the city manager as an independent, as kind of an independent body, which would be something created by ordinance. So, and one of the things with that is, in order to look at police reports, there's a lot of there's certain training you have to do. There's certain certifications you have to get that have to be renewed on a yearly basis to be able to maintain access of those things. So that's kind of another structure that could be in there. We don't currently have that structure here. And I think, if that would be something that the commission wanted to recommend looking into, that's totally great. It's just, I want to be totally transparent with the fact that we don't have anybody there, and I would expect that if you were to have an independent police auditor, at least from what I've seen with other cities that have been kind of doing that, they're looking for somebody at a mid-attorney level who would have experience, the requisite experience, which would have a budget impact at the end of the, basically, as a bottom line.
My next question is, I'm not sure if you can answer this question, but how does in the two cities where you said that had an independent police auditor, how do they interact with the police commission in regards to personnel files?
So from the looks of it, it seems that the independent police auditor has a sort of separate duty, and when they have their meetings, they discuss afterwards with the commission sort of like the end result of it, but the commission does not have access to those records, if that makes sense.
Got it. So as I was reviewing 832.7 of the California Penal Code, which is the changes that are made for police departments or for police oversight commissions to get personnel records, what wasn't clear to me, and I'm hoping to clarify, is a couple things. Like you had just mentioned, Mr. Kundinger, that the independent police auditor needs certain qualifications in order to review personnel records, right?
That is
would that expectation be placed on the police oversight commission as well?
Yes, because those certifications are legally required to be able to access those systems. If the commission were to get direct access to any of those files, like, looking at police reports that were not already publicly disclosable under SB 2 or 1421, then yes, the CLETS training and certification would be necessary. I also, if you don't mind me just giving maybe a little bit of brief history with this and one of the things that arose. So 847 arose because independent oversight bodies or independent auditors were having issues getting files from the bodies that they were overseeing, predominantly with sheriff's departments. I think the big one that came about was the Solano County, not Solano County,
LA County.
LA County and Sonoma County also had the same issue. Sonoma County just had a case that that just wrapped up, or just an appellate decision just came out on it, I believe, where they requested the documents, they got stonewalled, and LA has somewhat of a different circumstance. Their county council is using a different method there. I don't want to necessarily go too much into that or opine onto what they're doing. But it was basically, so then what these commissions or what these sheriff's departments were saying were, you know, you don't have authorization to it, even if your ordinance says that you do. It doesn't override state law. So the legislature basically said, well, that's what you think, then we're going to make it really clear. That was, I believe, the intent behind AB 847. And if you look and you see, we're only really controlled by Penal Code Section 832.7, because that's what applies to all officer personnel records. There's other certain provisions of 847 which apply specifically to county sheriffs.
Yeah, right.
And that's because, you know, county sheriffs are a bit different than police officers. They have the same function, but county sheriffs, the sheriff is elected. The police officer is an employee of the city. So there is inherent oversight in that, whereas for the county sheriff, outside of some very, very outlier situations, the county sheriff kind of doesn't have to answer to anybody but the voters. So that's some of those differences that are there.
Thank you. And my other question is, as I was reading through AB 847, I was also kind of curious because as you had just mentioned, we would need to get certain certifications to review personnel records. So it also brings up another question for me. What is the individual legal liability for each commissioner if we have that opportunity to review personnel records? Can we be individually sued if a police officer is not happy with that we review their personnel records?
Unfortunately, that would be a private legal issue. I would have to refer you to your own legal counsel to assess those liabilities.
Okay.
Are you complete?
That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, did you have any comments or questions?
Excuse me, thank you. Thank you to everybody who made public comment on the issues that you've raised, and thank you for a really great presentation. I do have questions, but since Commissioner Peterson raised the liability question, I would take it in a little bit different direction, not so much that the officer was not happy with the commission's decision, but in the event that commissioners had released information inadvertently, if comments were made on social media prior to the completion of an investigation that might influence a decision one way or the other, would that create liability issues separately from whether or not somebody liked a decision? So in other words, since these are personnel matters, are we held to a different, I guess, standard, if you will, just as you would be with any other personnel issue?
How I can answer that is that the commission would be open to liabilities that are available under the law for those type of disclosures. I can't really go into that much further, and if there are further questions or if the situation would arise, I could only advise that the commissioners would privately consult legal counsel.
Okay. So just a couple of observations and questions. So probably my biggest takeaway from the presentation and looking at how these 5 different cities are handling issues, it appears that general law cities do have the ability to review complaints in some way, shape, or form, depending on how they set that up, even without AB 847. And I would reference our municipal code, which I believe I referenced in early June, which is 4-3.110G, that as a commission, We receive reports from APD on publicly disclosable information regarding the status of civilian complaints. Develop a program for the mediation of civilian complaints in coordination with the city manager, the chief, and the city attorney, which we have not done as a body. Is there something I'm misinterpreting here?
Can you repeat that last part that we haven't
Which
done?
last part?
The part that we haven't done yet with the chief.
Well, so we have not developed a program for the mediation of civilian complaints in coordination with the city manager, the chief, and the city attorney. Have we? Do we have a program in place for that?
First, if you mind if I answer the first part of your question when you're talking about
Sure.
The access and the investigation, I think the important part in there is where the word is publicly disclosable. AB 847 would give access to not publicly disclosable documents. So that is a difference there. As for the creation of a mediation type of framework, that would not necessarily give the commission access to confidential personnel files. I read that as just saying, creating a framework to basically saying, it would be like akin to like a meet and confer requirement where there are certain steps that the commission would say, okay, these are the steps that the city has to take, these are the steps that the public should take in response, and hopefully that will create some type of mediation, create that framework, but I don't see that having I don't see that directly implicating the commission's involvement in that framework that's created.
Okay, I still, well.
To answer the question about the meetings, about complaints being like coordinated with city manager and chief, is that what?
And the attorney.
And the attorney. We did have, when we first began, we had an internal affairs and complaints ad hoc. So I wasn't a part of that one, but we did. I know that other commissioners sat on that. So that was I think the bulk of it was in an ad hoc, not a full commission setting.
Okay. I'm just simply pointing out that it seems to me like we do have a little bit of something currently at our disposal to at least be more regularly informed of the publicly disclosable information regarding civilian complaints. I just think if we're looking for a jumping off point to be more effective and to try to address some of the concerns that we've had expressed by the public tonight, starting to look at receiving information on publicly disclosable information on complaints is a good first step. And if we need to recreate an ad hoc to develop a program for the mediation of complaints, then that is a step we can take right now. It's in the ordinance right now.
Could we put, so, thank you.
I would just say caveat for right now to creation of an ad hoc would have to be put on a future agenda.
I'm not talking right this minute. I'm simply saying that as we've had people express frustration tonight about what we do and don't do, this is one thing that's not in place. It's a step. Okay? That's it. I'm just offering that as a step potentially in the right direction that is stated in the current ordinance. So it's just an option. The other question that I had.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Gonzalez?
I'm just flipping through.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
If you'd like to sit down, you can.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to make
you.
you stand there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to check for her. Thank you.
I think one of the other outstanding questions that I still have related to AB 847, and you mentioned this briefly, is the whole issue around subpoena power and whether or not the legislation itself gives a body subpoena power that it doesn't already have. I know that we had the issue in LA and apparently in Sonoma where you had bodies with subpoena power and they were being stonewalled. What I'm still unclear about is whether or not AB 847 gives a body without subpoena power that power, and I would appreciate it if we could get some clarification on that.
In my opinion, it does not alone give a body subpoena power. That would be coming, it basically authorizes the city council to, in its executive power, to grant subpoena power to the commission. So if the city council updated the ordinance to include these investigative purposes, part of that, you know, the ordinance, just to kind of throw some light on how this would look, the ordinance would have to be pretty much completely rewritten, and there would have to be some type of subpoena power in there, otherwise the investigatory purpose would not be fulfillable. So AB 847 on its own does not create the subpoena power, but it does authorize the city council to grant subpoena power to the commission if they so choose.
Because originally, sorry, 1 second, because originally that was only granted to a charter city body, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and sheriff's oversight
And
bodies.
Yeah, sheriff's oversight bodies, but those are counties, those are county boards, and counties, I believe, must have a county charter.
Okay.
So counties are exclusively charter organizations because they don't have, they serve a kind of wraparound, for, that's not a great term to use, but they serve, they function in the unincorporated parts of whatever municipalities exist, and they also kind of are a confederation of said municipalities in that geographical area.
Yeah, so like cities like Bay Point, Crockett, Rodeo, all incorporated.
Yes, exactly.
Contra Costa. Just so y'all don't know what incorporated. Okay. Yeah.
And then I know we talked a lot about the independent auditors doing the investigations. And it, just to be clear, right now we send the bulk of our investigations out to a third party. Is that correct?
So the way that it works, yes, if not all of them, I believe all of our investigations are sent out to a third party, and then if there are additional audits that are being done, as part of his function as the monitor for the U.S. Department of Justice, Mr. Sapal audits some of those as well.
I think one of the other things that would just be helpful as a point of clarification moving forward is to also sort of get a better handle, or at least better explain the situations where, just based on some of the presentations that I heard last year in Minneapolis and what I've read in the presentation tonight, I don't know that most oversight bodies, even in charter cities, necessarily do the top to bottom investigation of each incident. The board, I don't believe, conducts those investigations.
I don't know what some of the other commissions do. It seems from the general law cities, none of them do the investigations from top to bottom because there is a lot of specialized knowledge that goes into that. It's a lot of it is just, to my understanding, is a review of those, basically kind of looking at the facts, looking at the policies, and does the outcome make sense? That, I think, is what a lot of the other functions are for some of the other oversight commissions. And as I've said, other oversight commissions may have stricter training regimens. They may have stricter rules to get on there. They may be looking for particular expertise. Our former city attorney, he was part of the Oakland Police Oversight Commission, and he's a sitting attorney.
Yeah.
So there's no one size fit all with these type of things. It's a lot of it is a little bit more or less ad hoc. It's also things that are tailored for the particular jurisdictions where they're being, the particular jurisdictions where these commissions sit.
Well, and I do think that one of the things, again, that's going to be of critical importance, not just for the commission, but for the members of the public, is that as we move forward with this process, that we have absolute clarity on where our access and where our role and responsibility begins and ends, so that there is not the perception that we have this from start to finish and where we do fit into the process, because I don't believe that AB 847 or anything else gives us simply unfettered access to personnel records just because.
And that would be the purpose of, you know, getting the input from the commission tonight, and then we can go, we bring that information to the unions, we get their input, and then it's gonna be a negotiation. It's gonna be back and forth.
I'm not questioning that part of it. I'm clear about that. I'm simply asking that we all be responsible for ensuring that once we have this in a final form, that we have clear messaging and clear interaction with the members of the public, so that everyone knows when we obtain access, at what point, and that, you know, that we don't necessarily jump in and receive a complaint the minute it hits the website, for example. I just think that part of what we're dealing with here is that we have folks who are very frustrated, and then that leads to unfulfilled expectations, which then create problems for everybody.
I completely agree, and that's the massive import of having this type of collaborative back and forth situation. So then, you know, if the two sides can agree on what the scope is, then of course I'm not going to say there'll never be a dispute. Something, you know, in my time as an attorney, I can give an example. At the last the joint commission meeting, the last thing I was prepared for was being asked a question about the voting structure if a motion were to be made, because that wasn't anything that I contemplated was going to come up. There's always going to be something that comes up and is going to create a challenge. But hopefully by having this back and forth, and then both sides have a clear understanding, there'll be a unified messaging on that front. The unified messaging will go to council, and then hopefully from there on forth, we can all live together.
Thank you. And so I see that it's almost 8 o'clock, and we've been on this item for quite some time. And we would have to extend our meeting if we go past 9:30. So Commissioner Benoni, I know you wanted to make one final comment. And Commissioner Kennedy, were you complete? Okay.
Well, I was just going to ask if it would be appropriate to invite our officers to, you know, join in this conversation on the record, or is that going to just be exclusively handled in negotiations?
We will see how things proceed forward. I think that there may be a time and a place for that. I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
I would say we would have to definitely wait to see how we even get this started. What is the next process steps for us? Would it be requesting a meeting with the council again?
So this is, and if the commission isn't ready to, because as I already said, this is going to be a multi-step process. If the commission has wants to spend some time tonight discussing what they want this to look like, that we could do that tonight. But, you know, based off of kind of the way the discussion's gone, and this was in the, you know, very, very large amount of information the commission got, maybe it may not be the worst idea for the next meeting to put this on again. So we table the discussion now and have it come back. So then not only the commission, but the public can give their input as to what they want to see you do. And then there can be a deep discussion about how this structure is going to look.
Thank you. And so I would just say, since our commissioner, Lacey O'Hara, and our chair isn't here because they were sick, would it be smart to have a study session during a special meeting that the public can be invited to as well, just so we can use that time instead of a whole meeting where we would have limited time to discuss a possible ordinance?
I mean, there could be a special study session, there could be a regular meeting devoted just to that one topic. It would be up to kind of the, it'd be up to the pleasure of the commission. The only thing is when it comes to a special meeting, I would request that you please work collaboratively with the clerk's office so we can ensure that
Yeah, there's available, yeah.
there is a meeting time that's acceptable not only for the commission but for the public, and that doesn't conflict with any other city business that would be occurring in this room or that would be taking an undue amount of staff time.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. And then, City Clerk, would just reach out to you offline about, okay.
Yes, Vice Chair, thank you.
Thank you, and I'm complete if we're ready to move forward. Okay, we'll move on to the public hearing.
Sorry, Chair, Vice Chair. Then could we please just have a motion to table this,
yes.
item? And then we can table it till, I don't know, it's either if the commission right now knows when they may want to bring it up again, or it can be tabled to, we could say, to the setting of a special meeting or whatever you would like to do.
Okay. So I would make a motion to table this discussion to a special meeting or the next APOC meeting. Is that?
So would you want to have this discussion at the next, would you want to move this item to the next APOC meeting? And if that's the case with the special meeting, for example, you could have a special meeting before the normal start time.
I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, so then that I think would probably be something that would be the most workable.
Okay. I will I will make a motion to table this discussion to a special meeting where we can have before the next APOC meeting.
And I'm going to make one slight amendment to that with the time to be confirmed with the city clerk.
Yes, with the time to be considered with the city clerk.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja is absent. Vice Chair Williams?
Yes.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to table this discussion and include it into a special study session once the date is determined prior to the August 17th meeting. Thank you.
All right, and moving on, I would like to say thank you to everyone who came up and spoke, and thank you to our presenter tonight. Thank you. We have a better understanding of this overall. Okay. We're going to have the public hearing by Lieutenant Franco Cesar. Thank you. And this is the annual military equipment report.
Yes.
Okay. For public hearings, do I have to open a public hearing?
So first would be the presentation from...
Oh, okay.
First would be the presentation from city staff. Then after that presentation, the public meeting would be opened.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good evening, members of the Antioch Police Oversight Commission. I'm Lieutenant Franco Cesar, and I'm here tonight to present the Antioch Police Department's 2025 Annual Military Equipment Use Report. This is in accordance with Assembly Bill 481 and our city's military equipment use policy. A little background on AB 481. It was approved in 2021, which required law enforcement agencies to obtain approval for a military equipment use policy and to provide an annual report detailing equipment use, cost, complaints, and future acquisition plans. The Antioch City Council originally approved our military use policy on May 24th of 2022. Most recently, on August 26th of 2025, the City Council accepted the prior year's report and approved the continued use of this equipment. This report fulfills the legal mandate outlined in Government Code Section 7070-7072. These sections require an annual update covering how military equipment was used, the costs involved, community feedback, and plans for future acquisitions. The key components of the 2025 report. the use summary. The report includes a summary of how each piece of military equipment was used throughout the year, along with the purpose of each deployment. All deployments were consistent with department policy. In addition to these incidents, unmanned aerial systems, which were our drones, were deployed throughout 2025 with approximately 93 hours of flight time, assisting in crime mapping, area checks, locating suspects and missing individuals, and searches over waterways. Complaints and community concerns. The department received no formal complaints or public concerns regarding the use of military equipment in 2025. This aligns with the department's commitment to accountability and responsible use of the equipment. Audits and policy violations. The report confirms that internal audits found no violations of military equipment use policy. No corrective actions or disciplinary measures were required this year. As for inventory and future acquisitions, the report accounts for the total quantity of each type of military equipment currently held by the department. It also identifies whether the department intends to acquire any additional equipment in the coming year. As noted in the report, the department anticipates adding 2 new armored vehicles, which was approved by the Antioch City Council in March of 2025. We anticipate both vehicles being added into the current inventory by the end of this year. When they arrive, the current armored rescue vehicle will be taken offline and out of our inventory. Public engagement requirements per AB 481. A key provision of AB 481 requires the police department to host at least one public meeting for community discussion. Presenting to the Antioch Police Oversight Commission satisfies this requirement. The next public meeting regarding the AB 481 will be held before the Antioch City Council on August 25th of 2026. As a conclusion, the 2025 report reflects a continued effort by the Antioch Police Department to operate with transparency, maintain public trust, and ensure that all use of military equipment aligns with state law and local policy. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Since this is a public hearing, I'm going to open it up. And do we have any public comments?
We do. We have 2. We have Leslie May and Nicole Gardner. Ms. May. It's the left button, Lieutenant. It should turn green. Thank you.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, you can. All right, I read through this report thoroughly. And with this big machine, I'll just call it the big boy, we had 5 incidents from 25 to now. Only 1 incident was in Antioch. All the rest was us assisting other cities with our big boy. To me, that's a waste. I mean, Antioch wants to cry. We're listening to the city council cry about, okay, wait a minute, we gotta start this. Because we're supposed to get 5 minutes up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do we get 5 minutes? And I made the mistake of not asking for a proponent or a proponent for this item. Okay, so are you the proponent or the?
Oh, I oppose it. I oppose spending money.
Okay, so can we do the proponent first?
So who's for it?
Not seeing any proponents, we can go to Leslie May as the opponent.
As I began before, I am saying that I looked at the APD events of using this big boy machine. And we had 2 diversionary devices deployed along with the Armored Rescue Vehicle, ARV. One event in February 25, they assisted Oakland Police. In August of 25th of 25, we assisted the city of Vallejo with 3 diversionary devices deployed in unmanned aerial systems, and in the ARV as well. October 15th of 25, 3 diversionary devices deployed along with the armored rescue vehicle and unmanned aerial support systems. So we've got the drones and this machine and stuff. So, okay, plus the SWAT sniper team deployed precision rifles and specialized ammunition during the operation. However, they were not utilized. And then we have an incident APD where we helped the San Pablo Police Department. Once again, unmanned aerial systems, and they deployed the ARV. So on all these incidents, only one was used for Antioch. You understand what I'm saying? We're assisting other people, yet that's costing Antioch taxpayers money for, I don't know what they run on, gas or whatever, but time, officers, that sort of thing. When they first brought this up a couple of years ago, I was thinking, okay, they were saying to combat crime, to do all these things. Basically, it was around the time the tech scandal and all that, and we were all up in uproar. We need help, we need help. And there was also the Sycamore shootings and that sort of thing. And I think we reacted instead of really researching this. I am saying now they want to have a new command control vehicle, a box truck, and the annual maintenance is $2,000. They're not saying how much they're paying for it. Specialized firearms and ammunition. If you look at page 10, it gives you a breakdown on all this different ammunition. It says fiscal impact. Annual maintenance is approximately $50 for each rifle. Ammunition, 1,000 to 5,000, depending on order size. Of course, they have to be trained, post-certified rifle. Then we go on to the next, page 11, 12. They show you the different devices that they use, how much it's going to cost, all of these things. And as I say, we are now hearing nothing about, but we are in a financial crisis. And for what I understand, there are 20 officers that have applied for positions outside of Antioch already. And of those 20, they should be gone by December. So we're going to be down on officers anyway. They just got a $2 million raise on Tuesday across the board for the 3.5% raise. I don't see us putting any more money into this because if we're not even going to have a full staff, what are we doing? We're throwing good money to bad. How much ammunition do we have? How much stuff do we have now? That was the questions I asked when I was a commissioner last time. Show me the money. Break us down. We want to see every single piece of ammunition, devices. We want to know everything before we move forward on any decisions. That's that piece. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole?
All right, I'm gonna kind of bounce a little bit everywhere because I wrote some notes and then I wrote some more notes. So as far as the drone situation go, when I was reading the agenda item, we do see a lot of money being used for these drones, and it did mention homeless encampments. So we need to know why these drones are being used at these encampments. If the purpose of these operations is to safely resolve homeless issues, why aren't the city's outreach teams and mental health professionals leading those interactions while law enforcement provides security rather than the other way around? What criteria must be met before a drone is deployed over an encampment? Can the commission receive a breakdown of those 517 deployments, specifically how many involved homeless encampments and the outcome of each deployment? How many of those deployments involved no criminal investigation and were used solely to observe or monitor homeless encampments? Again, costs a lot of money for these drones. Police, staff time, all of that, that's a lot of money. So I don't even understand what they're doing as far as these encampments. So following the police scandals and community concerns several years ago, this city invested significant time and resources into police reform. The previous city council created this police oversight commission to rebuild public trust. How does expanding military equipment align with the original goals of increasing transparency, accountability, and community trust? Has the department sought community input on whether additional armored vehicles are consistent with the police reform goals led to the creation of this commission? So, and again, I understand officer safety is important. My question is how these purchases fit within the broader police reform efforts that this commission was created to oversee. So again, I think that it's very important that we figure out, you know, the money side of this. Because they just turned down home key and housing and permanent supportive housing. So, you know, I'm still upset about that. So my thing is, and I understand that these could be grants and things like that, but where are our priorities as a city? Because we can be focusing on grants to fully fund our mental health crisis response team, right? APD, you know, the APD could be doing that as well, and the city could be prioritizing that. These tankers and military equipment and all these different things, I don't think that's a priority for Antioch residents. I really don't. I was surprised that we even had this on the agenda when our last council worked really hard on reforming the police department after what was going on. So we need to, I do not support this, and we need to prioritize, and I don't care if the funding, they got funding for it, state funding, whatever the situation is. They need to be focused more on whoever is working with APD on getting grants and things like that. They need to be focusing on probably helping our mental health crisis response team so that we can take some of the time away from our APD officers going out there interacting with folks that are having mental health crises and put the mental health crisis response team out there. So yeah, I do not support this whatsoever. This goes against the police reform after Black Lives Matter, after all the things that were going on in this, not only the city, but this country. Back in 2020, 2022, I think that's when our last council said that they were not for this military equipment. I don't know what this council, what they voted on. I must have missed that, but I don't remember them saying that, but it looks like they support this. So again, I don't. City of Antioch, majority of people are not worried about these the military equipment, all of that. None of that. So y'all APD, please work on something else. Please work on something else. There are more important things y'all need to work on. Your department, your officers that's out there hitting people in the face. Please work on that because this is irrelevant. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, one more public comment.
We have one more speaker.
Hello? Okay, it's on. Okay, so I, being home today, I was researching myself. And so when I started going through the equipment, I was like, wow. Now, we just heard when we went to a city council meeting that they were getting, one of the citizens came up and said, well, they're getting all this money for get these guns and stuff, but they're not even buying some locally. We have a auxiliary here, but they're going to San Jose to get the guns. Then when I looked and saw how many different guns and things that they were getting, I was like, okay, so for each gun that they're getting, they have to get certain training. So that's more money to put out because they have to get training for that. They have to have so many training for each type of the guns, for each type of the equipment they used. And then I looked and I said, oh my God, there was 6 pages, all these different drones. Some of these drones are starting at almost $3,000, $5,000, $6,000. Yet every day I see, when I look outside every night, I see a drone above our house. I said, well, damn, what are you doing up there? You should be doing it. And the killer part is, we just today, I'm going to tell you how the downtown Antioch committee came here and they were complaining about, crime and about the homelessness and this and the other. We went downtown this afternoon to pay our rent to our landlord. And I went there, talked to his wife for a few minutes at the door, I left. We rolled by, there was homeless people sitting in the bus station. The homeless man got up all of a sudden, ran to our landlord's house, his business, and bammed on the door, like he wanted to kick it in. And we were like, wait a minute, let's wait there. So I'm looking, I said, maybe I need to call 911. Mom was like, no, we're gonna stay here and see what happens. So wife came out, he talked to him, and they accused him of something. We were trying to listen carefully. Then the husband came out, and like I said, I know her husband very well. He's very good, but he also knows he carries his weapon on him. And he was standing there. And so I'm like, okay, here we are downtown. Here's an incident happening. Where do I see any police? No police. But I bet you if I went up the street, which I did, and went down the street, why do I see a police car on the side road, on the side of the street? I'm like, you should be downtown patrolling, because I saw a homeless people sitting in their truck right across the street from there. The homeless man that was sitting in the truck, he came across, and he told the man, okay, it's okay. They didn't do anything, they didn't do it wrong. So whatever it was, he was accusing them of doing it. And they weren't even doing anything but being in their business. So I'm like, you're spending all this money. We're spending all this money to get, but we're not doing anything for crime. Okay, we literally drove up Lone Tree and saw there was a fire up there in the encampment. There's another problem there. Then it's like every time we turn around, we've seen this, that, and the other, but it's like you turn around and you don't give money that we need the help for the homeless, but you're gonna give $2 million to the police department. And the citizens of the community is supposed to be okay with that. It's not okay. And when I sit here and read 6 pages of drones, I'm like, what the hell? And then for each, that's just outrageous. And we're supposed to be, as a community, okay with this when we do that. But like I said, I remember 2 years ago when we were trying to get that truck, it's gonna help with commit crime. Basically, I drive by to work. Every day I go to work, I see that truck still sitting there collecting dust. So I don't know what it's doing, but it's collecting dust as far as I see, because I drive by it every day when I'm going to get on the freeway to go to work. Okay, so I don't know why they asked for it either, but yet they're trying to get a new equipment because they need it so badly. No, yeah, 2 new ones. So I'm like, we're out of a whole year, when we saw that, out of a whole year, we looked at this, there was only 1 time that was used in the city of Antioch. The rest of the time, we're helping other communities. Well, we're so bad, why don't you get other communities to help us? Pay for that. We should be getting paid for that services. That's the deployment of our people, our time, our hours, our equipment to be helping another community, another city. Okay, but we're supposed to be fighting crime here and helping things here. And I don't see that. And just like today, we had a shooting down near Sycamore. So what's going to happen again? Thank you. I got 50 seconds? I can raise hell, because I can say for the fact that my thing is like this. I ride by Sycamore every day. Yet we have a substation we're supposed to have. Half the time I ride by there. Now, like I said, every day I ride by Sycamore. Tuesday through Saturday I work every day. I don't see that thing open. I don't get home until after 8. I drive by, 90% of the time I'm stopped right there on that corner. Do I see that substation open? No. No. So what the hell do we get a substation for in Sycamore to help the crime? What is it open? And we just had a shooting of innocent people getting shot because they were going to the store, coming out of the store, and they get shot. But here's a substation that's not even open, that's supposed to be there, and we spending money for it to get it, and it's not even helping the community. So what was that for? A joke.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
No further public comment, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will close the public hearing, correct? Okay, questions from commissioners for Lieutenant Cesar.
I have a few questions. So I heard you in your presentation, you said that you're replacing the current armored rescue vehicle, the International Navstar, with the BADX. Is
Yes.
there a reason for that?
The current one we have is no longer working for us. It doesn't work. Sometimes it'll just die, and obviously that becomes an issue. Lately, we've been having to reach out to the city of Brentwood, the city of Pittsburgh, to utilize their armored vehicles for our SWAT deployments. This armored vehicles obviously is very, very important for us. It protects the officers, protects the community in case there's an event happening within a SWAT event or a critical incident. So we've been borrowing the resources from other agencies because of through mutual aid. I know our recent last SWAT warrant, we utilized East Bay Regional Parks' armored vehicle, obviously because ours is not working currently.
Okay. And also, I noticed in the specialized firearms and ammunition list that you have 308 ammo listed. And I'm curious, all the weapons I'm seeing, which weapon uses the 308 ammo?
That'll be our sniper rifles.
Got it. Got it. And also for the drones, I do think the drone price is interesting, just from the sense that when I see these drones on Amazon, they seem to be significantly less expensive than the $3,700 that's listed on here. So are those drones, do they carry like specialized equipment?
No.
That's specific?
No, some of them are used to loiter a little longer. Some have a little bit more battery power. The fact that some of the Chinese-made drones that we currently have are no longer supported. At some point, we're going to have to transition that to American-made drones, just because of obviously the functionality, the support on that side. Drones more often sometimes will get damaged. It'll hit something, something will hit it, and so we got to replace it. And to send it back to the company has a turnaround time. It just does, there's not a lot of people that really work on the drones, especially the commercial version.
All right. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I had a question about the price of the new armored vehicle that we're trying to replace.
Yes. I'm not familiar with the purchase process. I know from Concord PD reached out to me recently inquiring about the bat. I spoke to the captain that was part of the purchase program of it. I think the reason why we ended up picking up the bat was when they bought it with the armored pickup truck, it was a little bit cheaper because of the cost of buying two. And they promised us obviously that the turnaround time to get it delivered will be a lot quicker. But right now everything's been delayed. But I'm not familiar. I think it's in the $300,000 range for at least, I think, the bat. And then the armored F-350, I think it's a little bit under that.
Thank you. Does it cost us money to borrow vehicles from Brentwood or?
No, it's kind of like the same thing when we were doing a lot of it's called the mutual aid. So the chiefs sign off on the mutual aid agreements. If there's an incident happening, like if we need to go to Oakley because our investigation led us there and our suspects live there, then we will ask, let's say, Brentwood PD, can your SWAT team service this warrant for us? Kind of like the same thing when the Concord comes here too, and they ask us to go after their suspects.
Thank you. And how long have we been borrowing their vehicles for SWAT and
So
rescue?
I took over the SWAT team when I got hired here in November.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much borrow all the time because we need it. Armor's a good piece of equipment to be behind of in case the shooting starts or in case the suspects start threatening the officers.
Thank you. And how many vehicles does the cities that we borrow, like say Brentwood, since it's the closest?
Brentwood has one. We borrow from Pittsburgh a lot. Pittsburgh has one in East Bay. So those are our three go-to.
Okay. Pittsburgh and Brentwood, you said?
And East Bay Regional Park, sir.
East Bay Regional Park. Okay, so they have one vehicle each?
Yes.
Okay, and so for the amount of time that we've been borrowing, how much of a strain has it been on our own department? Like, is it convenient to borrow, or would it? I know it would be better to have your own.
It's we're fortunate we have good relationships, obviously, with the other agencies, but it is through when we're planning events, we want to make sure that obviously those SWAT teams are not being utilized for the same events. There's a lot of multi-agency operations happening in this part of town or part of the county, so we just got to double check in who's not being activated, and whoever's not being activated will reach out to that agency and request their armor.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask the frequency of how often they are used in those other cities with like Brentwood, Pittsburgh, only because I feel like if we've been going this long without it, and I'm not sure the exact number because you said you started in November 2025.
Yes.
because we are in a budget deficit and $300,000 plus is a lot of money for a new vehicle. I was just thinking of some of the comments of, about what money could be used for, and if we have a convenience and a great relationship with other cities, should we hold off on those funds until?
In my opinion, I think a rescue vehicle is important.
It is.
If there's obviously an incident happening, let's say now it's not a planned event, and then we have community members shot, and then it going through other agencies asking for that armor takes a little bit longer to get, as opposed to we have it in our inventory. We can immediately go there. That's the advantage of having our own.
Okay. No, I totally understand that. I'm not second guessing why it needs to be made. I'm just trying to get to a point. And so we have the Ford 350, F-350.
The F-350, yes, sir.
That's another armored vehicle that we
Yes.
need to replace as well.
No, we already have that.
We have that
Yeah.
one. Okay. Just want to clarify.
That came in about 3 to 4 months ago.
Okay.
It's the order's been delayed. The bat should have been here 6 months ago, but there's issues with it. I think within a month and a half we should have it.
Okay. And so the use is for the F-350 SWAT operations to enhance the tactical response and officer safety during risk incidents. So that's been delayed by how long? I'm sorry.
The 350's here, but the bat
The bat
is
has
going to
been
be
delayed.
here in about a month and a half.
So it's already been purchased.
Yes, it was purchased with money from 2025.
Okay.
So we're just waiting
That's what I wanted
to
to be
receive
clear on,
it.
because this is from last year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, those are my questions for now. I just wanted the public to understand some of the relationships that we have, the cost, why those funds were used, and the importance of why. Just because I know there's a huge conversation with the city's deficit and things. I want to be clear that these were purchased last year.
Yes.
Okay. But moving forward, we won't need another large purchase for the vehicles.
No, those are going to at least 8 to 10 years.
Okay.
Unless something major happens with it, obviously, but
Okay.
it lasts pretty long.
And so what happens with the one that's aged out?
So the one we have right now, the one that people have seen in the back lot,
Mm-hmm.
that was bought through, in reality, that's the only military equipment we have. And then we got that for, I think, $1 through the program, through the government. So now we have to release it, and I think another agency is going to get it from us.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll pass it on to Commissioner Solis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, I was looking at the drones also because it seemed like high prices and all.
Yes.
So for example, this ME3-5, so the cost of this was $3,628. Is that an annualized cost, or is that what it cost us to purchase that, but it's in our inventory?
That's how much it costs to purchase, and that's currently in our inventory.
Okay, very good. So what we're looking at is a list of all the different drones that we have.
That was purchased
and
already.
What it originally cost us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then to maintain all of these drones, it looked like it was $7,500 to maintain all of them for the year?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 517 deployments. That's $14.51 per deployment to maintain these things. So I don't know about, I'm concerned as well about the budgets and all, but I think taken in consideration, if these have saved one life or prevented or allowed our officers to catch a suspect, even just one of them, I'm willing to make that investment. But I just wanted to make sure that these cost figures weren't every year this
No.
will cost us $2,850.
The drones are definitely force multipliers for us, especially for a short-staffed police agency. It lets you see something really high and then focus on where the suspect's at, as opposed to doing a search everywhere. It kind of focuses our direction towards where the drone finds the person we're looking for.
Okay. I had also seen, and I could be thinking of some deployments where it involved mutual aid, but I remember seeing on social media that there were neighborhoods here in Antioch where there were people that were barricaded, and they brought in an armored vehicle for protection of the officers, and then of some of the neighbors that had come out because they heard all this commotion. So I'm not sure, whether or not those were that was the Antioch machine or somebody else's, but, you know, it's kind of scary when you see something like that happen in the middle of our community. It's
Oh,
just,
yes.
Unnerving. I don't know if our call tonight is just to accept the report, maybe to the city's attorney, and just look it over, and then pass it on to the city council, because I think they're gonna look at it next. But is that what you're looking for from us tonight?
Yeah, so the main purpose of this is for the public to have a chance to give their opinion on the military use over the past year and the military equipment that was being spent, what the potential outlook of it is, for the commission to ask certain questions, and yes, it says approve the report, but the report's already been written. It's all stuff that happened in the last year, so it's just kind of here for you to say that, for you to give your input, and then you can vote to have it move on to the city council. It's going to go to the city council kind of regardless of what happens.
Okay, all right. I guess the last thing I would say is that I'm aware of, I grew up here in Antioch, and the incidences of gang violence, and it could be, God forbid, it could be something related to cartels or something that's coming. But having our public safety people protected and being able to protect us with something like this against a force like that, to me, is it's important. It's important to give you guys at least these tools that you need to protect us against those kinds of elements that I firmly believe are coming, but that's just my opinion.
Thank you.
And I would like to just add one more thing. You know, this would also be the opportunity if the commission were to see that there was a key part of the report that was missing, or maybe some key information that wasn't included or that the commission knew was incorrect, could also request that those corrections be made. I'm not aware if there's anything that's there. I've reviewed the report. It looks like it covers the requirements of 841. Is that the?
41.
Yeah. So it seems as if everything is complete, but it would, if the commission disagreed with that, this would also be the time to address that matter.
That's
Thank
it
you.
from me.
Thank you for that. I did want to say something. I know that there was a mention of, and we usually get staffing numbers from the chief or his designee, and we haven't gotten those tonight. But there was a mention of 20 officers potentially leaving the force for Antioch and moving to another city. I don't know if there's any answer to that, or if you.
The chief's report should be the next item.
Oh, okay. That is, I jumped ahead on that. Okay, yeah, I'll wait, hold that question till then. Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. Does anyone else want to?
So just a couple of things real quick. The incident command vehicle,
Yes.
how often do we deploy that, and for what kinds of situations?
We deploy that whenever our SWAT team is deployed. I'm also the commander of our hostage negotiating team. That's a component of our ESU, Emergency Services Unit. They go hand in hand. We rely on them to take care of the incident where it peacefully surrenders, and then obviously the other arm is the SWAT team. But they work hand in hand to make sure that the incident is resolved peacefully.
And would we also deploy that? Let's say that we had, last summer there was the wildland fire that came down and started to threaten Mira Vista Hills neighborhood. So would that be something, even though Contra Costa Fire and CAL FIRE would be responsible for the fire operations, is that vehicle something that we might use as a command post or a remote command post if we had to set something up for evacuation purposes or so on and so forth of neighborhoods?
Yes, you're on point. It's obviously a command vehicle. I know we used it, we were going to use it for the recent 4th of July as a command vehicle downtown. But whenever there's fires, right, we're going to obviously have our resources there, and we want to make sure our officers check in at a certain location. And depending on the location of where the incident's happening from the police department, it might be advantageous for us to have the command post a little bit closer to where the incident's happening, so we can have our people check in there, give them the briefing there. We might have a dispatcher there as well to dispatch to obviously, if an incident's happening in Antioch, the city doesn't stop, right, because of that incident. So maybe we can utilize that command post as a third channel for a dispatcher, so they can work that incident while the rest of the city's being worked in the city, at the Antioch Police Department.
And I know that there were some questions regarding the mutual aid and requesting if you were in a situation where you knew that you were going to be, the word is escaping me, but that you knew you were going to address a warrant.
A pre-planned event.
Yeah, thank you. And you knew that next Wednesday, that was a plan. So you have the ability to reach out right now to Brentwood or Pittsburgh or East Bay Regional Park and say, hi, next Thursday at whatever time, we are conducting this warrant. Can you provide your vehicle to support us? So provided that one of them can give us that piece of equipment, we can go ahead on that particular date. But in the event that we had an incident here, and we've had a couple of lately where you've had like the barricaded individuals in their homes, if we reach out and nobody has a piece of equipment available, then what happens?
We have the armored F-350 right now that just arrived a couple months ago. From my experience, I've been a police officer for 25 years. There's someone out there that's going to help you, another agency's out there. It might come from a little further out, might be a little bit delayed, but there is going to be someone out there. And if there isn't, then we're going to have to rely on that pickup truck and the armor on our police, the armored door in our police SUVs, and try to take care of the incident that way. But armor is very important. It obviously, everyone knows that it not only protects the officers, but it protects the citizens too. It's a rescue vehicle in case a citizen is shot somewhere, and we have to go there and obviously protect them. So it's utilized as a rescue vehicle for the most part, and it's a great tool to have. And sometimes it's a de-escalation tool too, because when someone sees it in their front yard, front lawn, they're gonna know, okay, they mean business, let me just surrender now too. And that happens a lot as well.
And what is the shelf life of the new replacement armored vehicle?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know from my experience, most armored vehicle will last about 8 to 10 years, and longer too, depending on how the maintenance is done on it.
Great. And then the only other thing that I will mention is that when I did my first ride-along with APD last summer, it just so happened that we responded to an incident where there was an individual that had been assaulted. They had escaped. The officers were trying to find them in the area, and the drones were, they weren't able to find them immediately, but being able to put a drone up in that area was something that you could tell was helpful, again, from the standpoint of rescuing the individual or trying to find the individual that there was some concern may have been seriously injured. So I did have the opportunity to see that, and you know, there are benefits, I think, to those as well as potential drawbacks. But I think that if we're looking at the overall safety of the community, even I think they've been utilized with the sideshows.
Yes. A drone comes up. I mean, a lot of times, so like missing persons, maybe there's a fire. We want to find out the perimeter of the fire, where to send our officers to. It gets launched as well. It's definitely, like I said earlier, it's a force multiplier. It allows our limited resources to focus on where it needs to focus based on what the drone is telling us.
And then just to go back to the point I believe the vice chair made, essentially we are formally approving, if you will, a report that has to be created and submitted in compliance with AB 481. Is that correct?
That's correct. So this is a legal requirement for the city to use these types of equipment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think that is all of our questions. So thank you for your
Good evening.
presentation.
Thank you.
What is our
For formality,
Suggest
if
formality.
unless there's any changes that the commission would like to see, then there can be a motion to approve the report or a motion to.
So it would be changes in this report for like, say, this actual report, not for like next year or anything.
This is, sorry, I'm not sure I understood the question.
So like we're making changes to the report we just went over.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And this is a report reporting everything that was done in the last year, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I went through it a couple times, and is there a motion to approve?
I'll move that we approve the report and send it on to the city council for their review and adoption.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Laceo is absent. Vice Chair Williams?
I'll abstain.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to approve the report and forward to City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Police Chief Fehill's report. We will welcome, is it Captain?
Yeah, Captain Shane Bauer. I'm here on behalf of Chief Fehill. So good evening, Commission, city staff, members of the community. I do have our updated staffing numbers. We are currently at 85 total sworn. We have one off on OJI and one off on administrative leave currently. We have 5 currently in the Contra Costa County Academy, so 5 recruits there due to graduate in October. And unfortunately, as of today, 4 in Alameda County Academy. We had 5, but one wasn't able to meet the standards of the academy. That being said, we have given conditional job offers to 2 recruits that we're going to hope to get into an academy before the end of the year. And hopefully sometime this week, we'll have an opportunity to maybe offer another applicant position within the department as well. And I'm open to any questions regarding staffing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from commissioners about the report? Oh, public comment.
We do have one speaker, Leslie May.
Thank you, Captain Bauer.
Good evening, Commission. I would like to get an answer because I hear rumors and I want to see if this is some truth to this, that 20 officers have applied to work elsewhere that are in APD right now, and that they will be leaving, because this is very disconcerting.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
No further public comment. Thank you.
Okay. All right, commissioners, look alive. Discussion? I don't know that he can, because it's... Can you answer the question? Because I was going to ask it too.
Well, one of you could ask it. I'd be happy to answer to the best of my abilities.
Okay. Is there, that rumor may have any merit about 20 officers potentially leaving our department?
Officially, we don't know if somebody's leaving the department until we get a request for a background investigator, or from a background investigator. As of today, we have no requests from outside agencies on any current employees. Now, there certainly is rumor that people are intending to leave the number 20. Tonight is the first I've heard that number. I've heard numbers more along the lines of 5 or 10, and once again, that's rumor, so it doesn't really have any merit until we actually get a request from another agency for the background.
Where are these rumors coming from? Do you know?
It's a police department. There's always going to be rumors. So, you know, I mean, there could be a lot of different issues. There's people that aren't happy where they're at, but they're not necessarily going to be happy somewhere else. The grass is not always greener. In my case of coming over here, it certainly was and is. So I'm hoping that we can work on retaining our officers and build up our staffing levels as well.
What, do you have our current retention rate at off the top of your mind? I know we've had 85 sworn for a long time, but is there like I guess what I'm saying, like, what are we doing to retain officers? I know I had a conversation a while ago with an investigator, but not an investigator, that's the wrong word. Someone who was doing asking questions about retainment. He's like,
I don't have an actual number that would be a rate of retention, but you're correct. It is hovering around that 85 mark. So we had an officer resign recently, but then we hired a sergeant from another agency, a highly qualified candidate. So it's we're in competition with the entire Bay Area, really Northern California, as far as trying to recruit and retain candidates. So we're competing with them to keep our people, and we're competing with them to bring in new candidates as well. So I mean, we have a pretty robust attempt to recruit new candidates, and every time we have a community engagement event, which we have a lot, we're always looking for people that have an interest in this job, both from the professional staff side and the sworn side, and we encourage members of the community that want to make that change in this organization to have people they know apply.
I've seen a lot of our younger new recruits, or a lot of our new recruits were younger. Do you have a specific age range that people are being in the academies right now, or are they?
I don't have an age range. I will tell you that we're a young department, so there's definitely a gap between our younger generation and the few people that have been here for a more significant amount of time. So that's like, for example, bringing in the sergeant from an outside agency with a wealth of experience, that certainly benefits our organization, because we needed that experienced supervisory staff to come in to mentor and train and supervise our younger staff members.
Okay, thank you. Now that we got that clear, it's just a rumor.
Oh, we're going to try to keep it a rumor.
Hopefully, yes. I agree. Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes.
Just to add a question for you. So suppose you get a call tomorrow from another agency, and what would that call, and they were calling about someone, would they be calling about someone that had applied at their agency and was thinking about moving from Antioch to Brentwood, for instance?
So they have to be at the stage in the process where they would be at a background. So a mere application, we would not get any notification about that. I mean, short of the member of our department advising us that they applied somewhere else, we wouldn't know. So there's the background is a little further in the hiring process, but we would have a representative from that agency reach out to our professional standards division and request to look at their file.
Okay. And then kind of following up on that, that background, I don't want to go into all 20 questions or whatever it is that's part of that process, but I've been concerned because of comments that I've heard, watching meetings on TV or being down here, that that Antioch has had hired people that might not be hired at other agencies because of disciplinary actions or something like that. So does that, do those questions come up all the time in a background investigation of an officer? If somebody's going to get hired by us, do we flesh that out as much as we can to find out if that person has committed some kind of issues in another place?
Yes, and furthermore, as part of our DOJ settlement agreement and the Allen agreement, we actually have what I would say more stringent standards that are something that would make a person a non-select, that may not be a non-select for another organization. So you may get a candidate that has had some type of disciplinary action at a prior agency, but not necessarily something that would either disqualify or make them a non-select. But our criteria, because of those settlement agreements, are higher than what the standard would be for most agencies. Plus, Peace Officer Standards and Training has a criteria as well. Now, if they're currently working as a police officer somewhere, that applies, your question applies. But if it's a candidate that has never worked in law enforcement, the background is more along whatever their work and personal experience is that's outside of law enforcement.
And those include some sort of a psychological or psychiatric evaluation too?
Yeah, so that's a separate part of it. The background has to be completed. So you have a polygraph, a background, and then we have to, at that point, if we want to go further with the psychological and medical, we have to give them a conditional job offer. So when we give these offers, it's not necessarily a guaranteed body that's going to come work for us. They still have to complete the process. So there's still those two additional steps.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted clarification, because as I say, I've heard this, many times, and it obviously creates some concern on my part that, I just want to make sure we're getting the best that we can get, and that, we're not hiring a bunch of people that are square wheels, for instance. They need to be well-rounded. They need to be able to function in our community.
Yeah, and also to clarify, we don't hire somebody that's currently a part of an investigation at another agency. That has to be closed out. There has to be a disposition, and they still have to meet the criteria for us to offer them the job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think that concludes our questions. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to item 6-2, discussion of two future commission meetings dates. If you guys can turn to your staff report at the last 2 pages of our agenda tonight, there's going to be a list of dates at the bottom. I have 2 recommendations already, but there is a presentation from our staff.
Yes, I can keep this pretty brief.
Thank you. You see what I'm trying to do there? No.
Underneath the ordinance, the APOC enabling ordinance, APOC shall hold 2 meetings off-site every year. And this is the discussion item for the commission to establish where the dates for those 2 meetings. At the next meeting, the commission will decide on where those meetings shall be.
Yep.
And there can be some discussion about where the meetings are going to be, some suggestions, but that's not going to be the decision that's made tonight.
Right, thank you very much. Is there any public comment?
Yes, we have one public speaker, Leslie May.
Thank you.
Hello. I was hoping that the meetings, wherever they're held at, if it is during a colder time of year, would not be up at that recreation center, because it's awfully hard, especially if you're disabled and older, to get in and out of that. I like the meetings being held here because it's more lit, you know what I'm saying? And it's close to the police department. The police are going to be here. So I really don't understand why we have to have 2 meetings. And if so, have you already had one? I think I attended one, was at APOC and the city council. So that would be 1 meeting that you already had this year. So have you had another one? Have you fulfilled it already? So you're only looking for then 1 more date then, so to make the 2 meetings outside of here, correct? Well, like I say, I can add. I can add. So I would just like to say that I would like to see it. If you have to have another one, maybe before it gets really cold, somewhere else. And also, I want to make sure that Commissioner Solis is not. I want him out of here tonight, from something he said on Facebook. He attacked our councilwoman, Tamisha Torres Walker, on a comment. He attacked her. He's missed many meetings. He needs to be voted off before you guys go any further with this commission. Yeah, we're not gonna go for this. And I'll finish up my comment during public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I see a hand. Nicole.
Nicole Gardner.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say on this. I just I'm questioning why you want to move the meeting somewhere else. I didn't look at the staff report, so I'm just looking at the agenda. So I personally like the fact that our meetings are held here. Many of the folks that I deal with, especially online and in the different groups that I'm in and that I administer, they kind of just know, like, come to City Hall, come to City Hall. And there are a lot of folks, it depends on where you're talking about, but there are a lot of folks that come from like the downtown area or around this area that may be unhoused, that may just have more access to being able to walk here. And so I think that it's very important. Tonight, it was my bad because I literally had just found out about this meeting just earlier. So I didn't get a chance to even get some of our unhoused folks to come down here and participate tonight. So that was my bad. But it would be easier, me being a homeless advocate and with different, things that are going on, to have our unhoused community able to do that. District 3, that's the district I'm in. We really don't have that big of a unhoused problem. We do, but there's not as big as it is down here. So people know where to go, and I think we should leave it here. Unless you all, I'm ready to hear your comments just to see why you want to have it moved. So I'm not 100% like just for City Hall, but if you, let the community know why you want to do it, then, work that out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any more public comment?
No further public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. So, no, you can answer that for me, right?
Which would you like me to address first?
Well, the reason we have to use a location other than City Hall is in our ordinance. Right?
Under Antioch Municipal Code Section 4-3.106, subsection B, at least 2 meetings of the Police Commission each year shall be held at locations within the city of Antioch other than City Hall for the purpose of increasing community engagement with the Police Commission. As for, I never thought about that. It's I think Ms. Smith makes a very good point. There has already been one meeting held off-site, being the joint meeting. Mm-hmm. So the commission could have more than 2 off-site, but it's only required to have 1 more. Yeah,
and thank you for raising that, Ms. May. So yeah, it's discussion. I know we don't have to talk about locations, but I thought maybe a good location would be the new substation. I don't know if it's spacious enough, but
I don't know that we would have the physical space because there's a very small conference room. Mm-hmm. And then I believe we would have to have the accommodation for being able to set up it being televised, and I don't know that you would have the ability to do that in that particular space.
Yeah. Also, my second suggestion was the Family Justice Center or REACH. I know we went to REACH and they had like a really good, we had a good meeting there in the forum setting, but I don't know their technical capabilities as well.
Yeah. I would also toss out the possibility of St. Ignatius. I know we'd talked about that last year. Father Robert is really good, I think, about getting folks engaged and potentially bringing folks out. I know last year, both of the meetings that we held quote unquote off-site, one was Nick Rodriguez and the other was Genesis Church. So it may be good to move it into one other location. And given the comments tonight, this might be one other thing to add to the list of possible adjustments to the ordinance. you know, I think the idea was that for some people, they aren't comfortable coming to City Hall for whatever reason. And then, you know, Nicole made some very salient points on the fact that for some people, it's a place they're familiar with, and they know that this is where they would come. So I just, you know, this is something I think that's part of a bigger conversation. But like I said, I would toss out St. Ignatius as a possibility. They have a lot of parking. I think it is fairly well lit, to Ms. May's good concerns.
And it's close by.
And it's Contra Loma.
Yeah, Contra Loma. Thank you. Any other suggestions on location, or shall we move to dates?
I would, in another church, I would suggest is we can ask Pastor Francis if we can use Delta Bay Community Church.
That's the hub.
Yeah, we could ask Pastor Francis if we can use Delta Bay Community Church. They have a really good basement down there. It's huge. And it would accommodate not just us, but the folks who would want to show up to that meeting. And I'm sure we could figure out something for AV, for TV.
Yeah.
It has a lot of electrical down there. They just did a major remodel down there, so I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah. Thank you for that suggestion. Okay. Any dates that you guys can decide on? My recommendations were September 21st, because it's still warm and it's still light outside. To Ms. May's suggestion. And then the other one would be October 5th. Any? No? Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to hold our meetings on, oh wait, we only need to do one, right?
There's only a requirement to do one more.
Do one more,
If the commission
yeah.
would like to do more than one, there's nothing foreclosing that possibility, but one is required.
Okay, I would say for September 1st.
21st?
21st? September 21st, I'd like to make a motion to move September 21st for our second location outside of City Hall.
Second.
Okay, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacey-Oha is absent. Vice Chair Williams?
Aye.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to select September 21st for the next off-site location meeting, or off-site date meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we'll move on to general public comment. Do we have any?
We have 4 speakers: Leslie May, Crystal Law, Frank Sterling, but I believe Dr. Kimberly Payton left, and Nicole Gardner. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. The Contra Costa News published an article 2 days ago. It was concerning emails between they had obtained through the California Records Act, showing an error by interim city manager Anna Cortez and our current council member Tamisha Torres Walker, who is our council member for District 1. There was a lot of discussion and about this. Some people were pro. Most of the people were pro. And so then I happened to look at Manny Solis Jr.'s response. He says, specifically to Walker, ensuring inclusion and participation is a personal responsibility and is never abdicated to anyone else, especially with someone elected to represent a district or community. Take responsibility for your own actions and absence. You were elected to responsibly do something, not to try and be something. The CM is interim and the council is responsible for finding a permanent replacement. I reside in District 1 and I'm tired of finger pointing and excuses. Do your job, exclamation point. I responded to him, man, you are a total liar and a sham. Why don't you do your job on APOC? You are a racist POS and everything that is wrong with Antioch. It's a shame that you are the Tin Man, born without a brain. I don't think anybody on this commission should be attacking a city council member, especially living in their district, and especially this is an election year. This man has been irresponsible sitting on this commission. I, as you very well know, have been a commissioner on here. We have a certain amount of time meetings we can miss. He's missed numerous meetings, citing some crappy, basically, I'm a crybaby, I'm afraid of somebody. That is not an excuse. You have not done your job as a commissioner. I am asking this commission to put it on the agenda for the next agenda for this next meeting to take a vote on getting rid of him. You can see he can't be trusted. He speaks against public officials. He speaks against a black woman that has fought for everything here in this district, fought harder than any council member that's on this city council. And I resent that. I resent your attack on a black woman as a black woman. You are a racist. You don't know how to keep your mouth shut. You are a disgrace. You do not need to be on this commission or any other public office.
Crystal Law.
Can we go back on my time because I didn't start yet? Okay, so hello, Commission. I have been not only been trying to get Mr. Solis Jr. off of this commission board since he got here. He does not only not know what he's doing, but this is not his cup of tea. He needs to go ahead and go back to the planning commission or whatever other commission board he wants to. But you cannot be in a leading position of trying to fix something that you know nothing about. You know nothing, and you're not even, the crazy thing is that you're sitting there, but you're not even paying attention. And you can't take criticism. You don't like the fact that people are even speaking up against you. Every time I come up here and speak up against you, you don't seem to care or pay attention. You don't do your homework on anything, because if you did, you would know that Tamisha Walker has done more for District 1 than any other city council member in this city council. Again, it's nothing, it's not a personal attack. It's the fact that this is not something that you need to be in. What is racism to you? What did that last police department do to this district? You couldn't even, you can't answer it because you don't even believe that there was racism. You couldn't even believe that there was racism in the first place. Just go to another commission. We need people who are willing to fight for this district. I am in District 1. Do you know that, would you even believe that if you go to Sycamore Square right now, you wouldn't be able to get one person to walk up to you and tell you about what type of stuff they deal with on a daily basis? You know why? Because they don't know you. They don't trust you because they don't know you. Half the people over there don't even know who their commissioner is. I'm sorry, but you guys need to vote this man off. This is disgusting, and it's a horrible representation of this commission.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
Frank Sterling and then Nicole Gardner.
Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Great conversation tonight. When I left, I was out there listening on YouTube, so I heard all your conversation about the earlier topics. So I thank you all. I came here tonight to stay through this public comments because of what we were talking about with Officer Shiplop that did hit that woman in the face. And Nicole came and mentioned the article. It was in Contra Costa Pulse. She couldn't think of the name. I know some of you read it. I don't know if all of you have read the Contra Costa Pulse article. It kind of lists some of the other things that Officer Shiplop was accused of. And he squeaked through the text message scandal. And if you didn't read the article, I have the clip of how he squeaked through it. And I prefaced this last time, but I didn't want to offend no one. He used the N-word. Of course, I will not use it. But another officer texted this to Officer Shiplop. Slow motion, slow N-word, dead N-word, body bag N-word, 1055 N-word, 187 N-word, Wild West N-word, Huckleberry N-word. And he sent that to Shiplop, who replied later, coup de grace N-word. And he made some sort of joke about it, that this was just a joke, a skit that he thought was funny. And he squeaked out of the text message scandal and still have his job. At the time, interim police chief Brian Addington said, Shiplop's conduct was embarrassing, unbecoming, and unacceptable to this department. Your failure to take accountability for your actions during the investigation and your willingness to proffer excuses for your actions show me that you do not appreciate the gravity of your conduct, Addington said in the notice, according to court records. He also added, as a result of your action, I can no longer trust you I can no longer trust you to competently serve as a member of this department. Those are our former police chief, yet this guy is still here, and now we got this video of him punching this black woman in the face. So I would ask you guys, if you guys can use what powers you have to maybe test this new subpoena power, see what else we don't know about this guy, and see if you can make a recommendation to the city council to finally get rid of this guy, or to the city manager, whoever has the ability to do that. I know they got protections for themselves to keep themselves here, as he got through the last time. But now we still don't want him here. And he somehow squeaked through with some other ones that we might not even know. So I'm asking you all to look into Shiplop as much as you can. Perhaps this new law we discussed tonight can be tested there. I don't know if that's a possibility. But I'm asking you to look more into this guy and see if we can get him out of here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Gardner.
Oh yeah, he gotta go. So anyway, I wrote some notes for this one. So questions that I have, questions that I'm hoping that you also asked APD, whoever you need to ask. So we need to clarify APD's role during encampment sweeps. What does assist code enforcement actually mean? Because during the sweep with Frenchie and our unhoused community, Officer Shiplop was the one to issue them the notices while they were on railroad property. He also made contact with Frenchie and other unhoused residents after they left the railroad, telling them that they had to move from public property without a physical notice. So why was this community engagement officer issuing notices and making direct contact if APD's role is to simply assist? Under what legal authority is APD involved on railroad property if the railroad has its own police? Is issuing notices on railroad property part of APD's policy? If so, where is that policy? Is there a written encampment sweep policy for protocol available to the public? I recently put in a public records request to find this information out, but it would be good for the community to know the protocol. Who is in charge during a homeless encampment sweep? Is it code enforcement or APD? Again, it looks like Officer Shiplop was leading this sweep, and this commission has told us before that sweeps are not in their purview because APD does not have anything to do with homeless sweeps. But now we see 13 officers at one sweep. Why aren't our mental health crisis response team, core, and outreach organizations routinely included before or during sweeps. When I first got to the particular encampment with Frenchie, CORE and our mental health crisis response team was not there. No one had contacted them, but after interacting with code enforcement and APD, we agreed that we would both reach out to CORE. This was about 4 hours after the initial sweep started. What criteria are used to call our mental health crisis response team when someone appears to be in a mental health crisis? Does APD have a written policy that requires officers to notify the crisis team and CORE team before enforcement action when they know an unhoused individual is experiencing a mental health crisis? During this incident, an unhoused woman experienced what appears to be a mental health crisis, was involved in a use of force incident. Was the Antioch, or was the crisis response team contacted before this encounter? If not, why not? I'm running out of time, but these are not new questions. I have been asking many of these questions for over a year when you guys first started on this commission. I'm not here to attack this commission. I'm here because I believe transparency builds trust. If the public understands the policy, then officers know they're being held to a clear standard. Unhoused residents know their rights and responsibilities. Advocates know how to assist, and everyone is working from the same playbook. That's what accountability and transparency looks like. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more public comment?
No further public comment. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, I would like to make a motion to extend the meeting by 10 minutes, just so we can get to the rest of the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacey-Oha is absent. Vice Chair Williams?
Yes.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to extend the meeting by 10 minutes with a 9:40 closing time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who spoke during public comment. We will move on to ad hoc committee report out. I'll start to my left.
Guess I better learn which way is left. I don't have any report at this point.
Thank you.
Okay, for the travel and trainings ad hoc, I guess we created a spreadsheet tracking system for the trainings and commission readiness. The idea isn't, to strictly enforce anything. We want to respect everybody's, time and their role as volunteers. It's more of like a filler of where we are so we can, kind of coordinate and be on the same page. Yeah, basically there's a master spreadsheet and then there's 7 individual spreadsheets, one for each commissioner. And I guess when we distribute it, if we end up distributing, it's still an ad hoc. You would mark red for incomplete, yellow for in progress, or green for complete. And then we could update the master spreadsheet and see where everybody is. And it's just a way of, keeping up with trainings and commission readiness. Also, as, discussion around the APOC webpage, 896, and context for potential uses. We sent an email to city staff about establishing a standard operating procedure and clarifying the proper points of contact for requesting updates to the webpage. And it was clarified that such requests should be routed through the city clerk's office. The public information officer, Jaden Baird, was able to update the page for us, the webpage, to include all commissioners, listing their names and proper contact information for the community to be able to engage with us. So we're happy about that. And this conversation has been moved to the community engagement ad hoc as a more appropriate ad hoc to continue from here. And I have nothing else to report for that ad hoc.
Thank you. I was absent for our meeting, so if you have anything for
okay, policy. And then for policing practices and standards oversight, we're Captain Cook I think that's how I pronounce it. He invited our ad hoc to have further discussion around Rubicon programs, potentially, you know, there's been some discussion. They floated some potential ideas. Nothing's final, but about, you know, staffing with the substation, the Sycamore substation. They signaled that they're potentially open to, you know, at least they're open to having that conversation. And the meeting hasn't occurred yet, you know, because it's the summer and new fiscal year. This season's always pretty busy, but we plan to reach out and follow up on the conversation. And also we're working on potential concept and framework to hopefully be presented to the commission at an appropriate time. We're still gathering additional relevant information and details in the ad hoc, and there's nothing else to report at this time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Commissioner Peters.
I think Commissioner Benoni just talked about the training and readiness ad hoc for myself, and then I also sit on budget. We have not met just yet. We did send an email request to acting city manager Ana Cortez to receive our budget, and we still have not received that yet. So until we receive a budget, we're probably not going to meet until we get that budget.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I had a question for you, Commissioner Benoni. So the spreadsheet tracker, that's going to, like, if we completed the training videos that Officer Amiri sent and things like that?
Yes, also the sit-along for the dispatch and the ride-along for APD. And also, I believe there's a simulator, use of force simulator, yes. Ethics training, you know, a bunch of different trainings and stuff.
Thank you. And then Commissioner Peterson, for the budget, you guys, when did you say you sent that email out to the city manager, acting city manager?
I feel like Portia has sent that email multiple times over the past 6 months. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you haven't heard back?
She did reply and said she would get it back to us, but like I said, it's been a few weeks, and so I don't know when she's going to get back to us on that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kennedy?
Could I just make a suggestion that perhaps reach out to the finance director in addition to the city manager, since finance actually is the keeper of the overall budget? If what we're looking for is confirmation of the fact that we have X amount of dollars, that she should be able to confirm that. And I mean, we never got a budget last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, so we've sort of been flying blind in that regard in general, and that's not a great situation to be in. But I don't know that I've even ever seen that. It's like, other than saying you have X amount of dollars, I've never seen it broken out into X amount for training or outreach or whatever. So I think, you know, my suggestion would be to also go to the finance director if the goal is to get a dollar amount.
Yeah, I would pass that on to Chair Taylor as a suggestion to reach out to the finance director. I think this time she really wants to have a line item budget to prevent issues that we experienced during the expenditures report out, where there were a lot of mistakes. And so we just want to make sure that everyone has the same shared understanding of what our budget is and what we're spending.
And I agree with that 100%. I think that just based on my experience with municipal budgets, where and how all that is recorded, I mean, we're going to need, it's more than just a dollar amount. It's because the city manager is not necessarily the person that's, I mean, they may be, but, you know, does each department have a breakout for, like, training, office supplies? You know, I mean, that's something that even when I've looked, and then the question is, when that information was entered, and yes, we know it was 100% a mess, but but part of that appears to be in what their limitations are in entering information for some reason, because that was incredibly frustrating. But maybe we make a proposal of what we think should be allocated for training and for outreach and for whatever, because clearly it's never ever been established that I'm aware of.
Thank you. And I trust that you'll pass it on to Chair Taylor. Okay. All right, and Commissioner Kennedy, anything?
We had the training and travel, or I guess we're still technically the Commission Readiness Ad Hoc, had put together an overview of the NACOL conference and our membership. In your packet, you've got all the dates for the conference. The fact that the early bird registration ends on the 12th of August. And so unless we're in a position to move quickly, we're going to probably miss out on that. There's information about the pre-conference session, flights, hotel costs. What I can tell you from personal experience, because I've flown in and out of Louisville a lot, we're gonna be hard pressed to find direct flights, just because. Yeah. It's also the proximity to the airport is fairly close to downtown. And so I think, given our experience in Minneapolis, we should really give some consideration as to whether or not we really need a rental car and then paying for parking in the hotel on top of the rental car rate, as opposed to doing like Uber or Lyft or traffic. There's a breakdown of just approximate cost per person. We should consider scholarships. And we had talked about the fact that since Commissioners Ben-Ani and Solis had not yet attended a conference, that we cover the cost of those two commissioners. Again, this is up for discussion. Obviously, we are an organizational member of NACOL. There's a typo in that second paragraph. I apologize for that. So we can submit a list of names, and we can now. This current membership expires at the end of August. Mm-hmm. But that membership allows us to have a vote at the annual meeting if we designate somebody to be that vote. And we're also able to participate in various online trainings for a nominal fee, which is usually around $25. And I know, for example, there was one last week that I would have loved to have participated in on AI, especially in light of the dispatch plan that they've talked about. But anyway, this is probably more for like further future discussion. And then I believe that the community engagement ad hoc will be doing more of a presentation on our listening session and our REACH meeting, hopefully at our next meeting.
Thank you very much for putting the NACOL report together, the pricing and everything. It's getting late, sorry. So I have nothing to report. I was on vacation, and I've had some work conflicts with some ad hoc meetings. So apologize for that. I'm steadily working on trying to meet with y'all for our meetings, and I will have to figure this out, as I've already notified y'all. Next item on the agenda is upcoming future agenda items. We have 7 minutes before we have to adjourn. So upcoming future agenda items. I'll start to my right this time.
I think a continuing conversation about the ordinance and AB 847, but also the ordinance specifically as it relates to what is already there, that we can perhaps be doing more or better. Not better, but
that we can
be more effective.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Peterson.
Nothing to add right now.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ben-Ani.
Two things. So for one, I think I would like to be a little more familiar with the internal affairs process, so if we could request, I'm not sure if it could be in the next meeting, but if we could request some information on that.
Like a presentation.
Yes, please. And then also, well, I'll save that for my report out.
Okay. City Attorney, can you remind me, have we had an internal affairs presentation before?
I am not sure about having one before, but I believe that one is forthcoming. So when, either the next meeting or the meeting after that, that's what we've discussed.
Thank you. Commissioner
I'd
Solis.
support the suggestions from Commissioner Benoni and Commissioner Kennedy.
Okay. Thank you. There was something that I wanted to, special meeting. I don't, because that would be before, so I would just reach out to you personally. Okay. And I think that's it for upcoming agenda items. I think we're gonna.
I might have something to add. So with the presentations that are on
thank you. That's what it was.
There's two of them.
FJC and
Rubicon programs. Yes.
Yes. And if you can just send me send those presentations over to the clerk, we can. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll make sure because it was supposed to be on tonight's. Thinking now we would have been here till like 11. No.
Can I actually add something? Yes. Earlier, an audience member had mentioned having setting up a meeting where we can have a conversation with the NAACP youth group, and I think we should, if we could, try to include it in our off-site meeting. I think that would be a good way to get one of the topics that we could discuss, because I know we all had interest offline. We had, some of us had discussed interest in meeting more with youth groups. I think it would be a good opportunity to do that offsite.
And that is, just as an aside, that is something that's on community engagement's list of possible listening sessions. So is that adequate, or are you looking at something more
formal,
more formalized?
No, I think a listening session would be good. I think it's important that we take the time to listen to what the youth have to say. I know in the one setting we did it, there weren't any issues, but some folks seem to think that in other settings we might hear more. So I'm curious to hear more and listen more, and maybe after that we can come up with some action items in another meeting to address those issues.
So maybe like a study session with.
Yeah, listening session as Commissioner Kennedy just mentioned.
Yeah, okay, we can do that. All right, trying to move quickly here. Okay.
Well, and just part of what the plan, the way we had laid out the listening session goals and objectives, I think, were to hold a couple, if we could, and then be able to identify the themes and the things that would be more like hot buttons, or things that we thought needed to be shared immediately, say with APD, or if there were particular issues. So I think that could be a good fit for that.
I see.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, everything you just said, I agree. That's what I was trying to say, but I don't think I said it as eloquently as you did.
All right.
I would like to motion to extend the meeting by another 10 minutes.
Motion, second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja is absent. Vice Chair Williams?
Aye.
Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to extend the meeting an additional 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to Commissioner report out, and I will start. Nothing to report because I was out for PTO. Commissioner Solis.
Thank you, Vice Chair Williams. tomorrow is the National Night Out. And I was a little bit surprised that the chief or some of his representatives maybe didn't coordinate with us to go and visit some of those sites. So I know of a couple of them myself, and I'm going to just take it on my own to go and visit them and just pop in and identify who I am and ask them if they've got anything they'd like to talk about or anything they want me to bring back to the commission. So, you know, I don't want to say everybody should do that, but I think if we were given an opportunity to go out with some officers or the chief or someone else that's, you know, hitting a number of these spots, it would really work out, I think, to our advantage. It would give us some additional visibility. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I agree on the listening session with the youth group. I think that's fantastic. That's a great idea. In fact, I'm wondering if we shouldn't extend that to maybe like the youth councils at Deer Valley High School and at Antioch High School, because I think that there's probably lots of issues that come up for all young people, and it'd be nice for them to meet some officers and learn something more about the procedures and how things work and why things happen sometimes the way that they do. In fact, maybe we could even do it at the community room down at the police department so they could come in and maybe they could see the new MRAP we're going to get, and you know, if it's scheduled out enough time. So anyway, the last thing I would have to say is I'm pretty unfazed by lots of things, and there were some non-critical comments, and some of them were very critical. But I'm going to do what I think I need to do on this commission, and if it means helping you all support you in your efforts to take an issue forward and make sure that that happens, then that's really what my job is. That's what I was appointed to do. And if anyone thinks that, you know, rude comments, name pointing, name calling, finger pointing, or charges of incompetence, especially, it's laughable if you, I've not really spent much time with any of you talking about my background, but I will say that it's disheartening that some of the elements in this community that should be the most sympathetic to people of color are in fact some of the worst. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here, and I'm going to represent the issues that I think are important to our commission, those impacting our police officers, and our adherence to the MOU. I think that's what I was appointed to do, and that's what I intend to do. So sorry, but I'm going to be here next meeting and the one after that. I missed a meeting because I was actually being wheeled into surgery, and then another one I had a work commitment, but those are the two meetings that I missed, and my apologies to each of you. I think we gain a lot from having ourselves all as a full commission and learning from each other and hearing everyone's views. So my apologies about missing a couple of meetings, but my intentions are certainly to be here, regardless who thinks I shouldn't be here. So thank you so much for your kindness and your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Benoni. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I wrote some notes. Okay. So I attended the Youth Academy on June 25th, I believe. It appeared to go really well. A lot of community members showed up. Many of us were, you know, standing, so we may need more space in the future due to the success in turnout. I discussed with officers there. I forget who exactly I spoke to, so but I spoke to them about the Blue Envelope program. I think my recommendation would be that if there's consensus with, you know, on the commission, that we can potentially request an update on distribution and results so far, perhaps in September, October, or November, to start gathering data to see, you know, how well that's working. I attended my first dispatch sit-along around, I believe, either July 2nd or July 9th. I remember it was the beginning of July. It went relatively well. I know the shot spotter technology is pretty impressive, honestly. Not the entire city is covered by the shot spotter. There's like 3 main areas. I think like the Delta Fair, Gentrytown area over there, like towards the mall, Sycamore, and the whole downtown area pretty much, and the Gas City, Deer Valley, Lone Tree area. I'm not sure, what the decision making was back then when it was first implemented, why the entire city's not covered, but I think the dispatcher told me it might have been due to budget, but I'm not sure. I wasn't able to confirm that. And she said that was, those are the areas where they see the most crime. And then aside from staffing, dispatch, of course, noted that, public calls for non-emergencies are also one of the key challenges they face, as well as dispatch having to frequently triage calls and reroute callers to proper channels. So a lot of people are calling for stuff that, I guess they should be calling other channels for, and that's really, impacting the response time. An interesting point that came up was I believe there were 12 calls regarding runaways in just 3 days that told me. So there's a lot of runaways. I didn't even know that. Yeah, dispatch confirmed runaways are relatively frequent in Antioch, and I personally had no idea about that. And then the last thing, I attended the June 10th community listening session with the ACT Antioch Council of Teens, which I consider a strong success, and I think it laid out the roadmap for future initiatives. So I'd like to give Commissioner Kennedy, Vice Chair Williams, and Commissioner Lacey Oha, and the community engagement ad hoc their special thanks and acknowledgement, which I think is overdue, not just for the event itself, but also the underlying theme behind it, listening to the community, involving the community, directly interacting, and making those connections. I think that's exactly what the your ad hoc was designated to do, but it's also what our entire commission is mandated to do. So not only do I think that model that you created is replicable and scalable, I also think there's so many different directions we can go with this line of thinking, and the listening session questions, I think they were very, I know we didn't use them completely, we went a little off script, but I think they were very detailed and in-depth, and I think there's, different ways we could apply this line of thinking and this approach, and some of those are already making their way through ad hocs as we speak, so, some ideas coming up soon, hopefully. So just special thanks and credit where it's deserved. Thank you.
Commissioner Peterson.
I think we may need to extend the meeting slightly.
If y'all can do this in 1 minute, we can get out of here.
I'll make it quick. I just wanted to just thank everyone in the audience who came out tonight to express their opinions. I know it's not easy to speak out, especially when you have an opinion that not everyone agrees with. I really appreciate that, and I just want to say that I just want to encourage more members of the public to come out and come speak your mind and come to our meetings. I know that it is taking us a while to get on the right track in terms of getting on the ordinance and figuring out what this commission looks like. We are doing everything we can. Trust me, behind the scenes, I know on this dais there's not a lot we can say, but behind the scenes there are a lot of emails going around, a lot of conversations happening about the future of APOC. And I just want to say that we're working hard or trying to make sure we can do everything we can to move everything forward, especially as it relates to AB 847. And I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation with our fellow commissioners, the police department, the city manager's office, and the city council. So yeah, that's it for my report out, and thank you.
Thank you.
I have 30 seconds, the vice chair told me.
We could extend it.
Thank you for the acknowledgement on the listening session. there was a lot of work that went into that, and I think it's a good jumping off point for us. We also had a chance to meet with the REACH staff, which I think was a productive discussion. Some resources there. While we can't work directly with the clients, I think that the staff can provide us with some ideas for other opportunities to do outreach. I attended some of the neighborhood watch meetings. I did attend a session of the Youth Police Academy. Also, shout out to APD and all the other organizations doing the back to school backpack drives. Also, Commissioner Solis, I believe if you reach out to Sergeant Fashioner, if you want to get connected with an officer for tomorrow, he could probably facilitate that. I hope it's not too late to
Yeah, I think
send
it's
that.
Officer Mary. He sent an email last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to make a motion to extend the meeting by 5 minutes.
And then, can we just like extend it?
Yeah, a motion to extend. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Can we just all raise our hand?
Commissioner Solis,
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Lacio is absent, Vice Chair Williams.
Aye.
Chair Taylor is absent. Motion to extend the meeting an additional 5 minutes. Thank you. Passes.
The last thing that I just want to add, everybody's right. Great participation tonight. Not necessarily always easy to, wrap our heads around all of it. But one of the takeaways I had from Minneapolis, and you may have had the same, I don't know. Oversight isn't easy. I can't tell you how many cities got up and talked about literally having to take their organization, break it apart, put it back together for a whole host of reasons. Either because the commission couldn't get along, the community was angry, the departments were angry, there was issues within, local government. All we have to do is even look at the news and see places like Oakland, places like Berkeley. Recommendations have come down from commissions and they're not always accepted. It's not easy work. It doesn't mean that we're not trying. It doesn't mean that people don't care. I think what we have to really be incredibly focused on is open, accurate communication, because truly it's perception and unfulfilled expectations that lead to people's frustration. And, we're all trying to do the best we can, and we're not always going to do it right or say it right. But that's, I think, got to be our focus. And just thanks everybody for a really, I think, good meeting, and nice job, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. I was joking about the 30 seconds we were going to extend that. I didn't want you to have to rush.
I just wanted to make you talk fast.
Yeah, I have to say thank you all to everyone that came out tonight as well, and everyone who spoke up, and the city attorneys. Was she your intern?
Yes.
Yes, she was great. It's Gonzalez. And thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you for the city clerk's due diligence. And I will say, are there any staff communications?
No.
Is
Come
there?
on, we could extend for another 5.
No, thank you.
I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Next meeting date?
Thank you. The next meeting date is going to be August 17th here at City Hall at 6:30. Thank you, Commissioner Benoni. Motion to adjourn?
I second that motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Commissioner Solis,
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja is absent. Vice Chair Williams.
I guess so. Aye.
Chair Taylor is absent. Motion passes to adjourn the meeting at 9:54. Thank you.